Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Cubecast episode 45. My name is Mike, coming to you straight out of New Zealand. We're here every week, and just like a wizard, I'm never late. I always arrive exactly when I mean to, you know? That's what's going on. Welcome, everyone in the chat. Hello, Dave. Hello, Efemica. Hello, Projta. Nice to see ya. Hey, Grayson. WCA Cubing, fastest cubes. Everyone's here. Cube Razor's here as well. What's up? Welcome along. Welcome along. Nice to have you here. Did I unmute my mic? Yes, I did. Fantastic. It's all happening. It's all happening, everyone. We are go. All right. What am I going to do? First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into YouTube Studio, and I'm going to thank all my wonderful channel members, because you know what? You make the wheels turn. You make the whole thing go around. Whoa, new member, Proshta. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Wait a minute. We've had a couple of new members here that I didn't even notice. Proshta, I know that guy. He was on the show. David Epstein, I know that guy. He does cubes real fast. Walker Standard, MJ, Titan Chicken, Chang, Amethyst Mac, Jeremy Falanga, UK Cuber, Vera Twist Plastic, JDB the Cube Guy, James Melby, Glenn's Cubing Corner, Benjamin Handelman, John Baxter, Curious Nick, Stream Mum, always representing. We appreciate you all. You are what keeps the thing going. You are what keeps me turning up, doing the thing. Episode 45, everyone. Now, a little bit of admin before we start. So this is like episode 8 of this season, and the school holidays are next week. But I'm actually going to give you an extra, all right? I'm going to give you an extra next week because my kids are both in ballet camp, so they're out the house like till 5:30 in the evening. So I'm able to stream next week, so I'm going to. We'll do an extra long one, a bit of extra shenanigans. I definitely want to play some Fortnite and do some silliness and catch up on PSL. We need to catch... no, not PSL. Better than PSL. We need to catch up on MSL, the Mike Speedcubing League. Me 1 versus Me 2 Speedcubing. We've got a load of games to catch up on, so we'll do that. That'll be the go. What's up, Mythical Games? Welcome along. So coming up on the show today, of course, Michael Rosenkranz is going to be here in a second to talk about commentary. Projta, I know you're interested in commentary. We had a good yap about that a few weeks ago. Speedcubing is going to be on ESPN, everyone. That was a big announcement from Speedcubing USA on their Instagram the other day. Some other things have happened, I'm sure, but I didn't write them down. So we're going to go hunting and trawling around to see what we can find. And I'm sure there's things happening. You'll all tell me. You'll tell me in the chat, I am sure. Okay, so without further ado, let's bring in our guest today. It's Michael Rosenkranz, everyone. Hello.
Hi, Mike. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. Anytime. So there's a few people who may not know who you are because you're not a cuber, hey? So why don't you take this opportunity to introduce yourself to the stream and to the chat? Let us know who you are, yeah, that's it. Let us know who you are.
Absolutely. First off, I'll start by saying congratulations on nearly 50 episodes of Cubecast. I think you mentioned this is number 45 for you.
Yeah, I keep turning up.
45. That is awesome. So you're nearly at that milestone. That's incredible for you.
Well, thank you.
But yeah, just to introduce myself to the chat a little bit. My name is Michael Rosenkranz. I'm originally from the United States, born and raised in Michigan, which is sort of in the Midwestern part of the United States, the Midwest region, if you want to say. We're surrounded by the 5 Great Lakes, if you're looking at it from a geographical perspective. But a little bit about me. I recently graduated college from Central Michigan University, Fire Up Chips, and we are looking for... Currently, I'm just looking for doing the job hunt, just a month out of college, and I'm looking for one job in sports media, whether it's TV, radio, and just really to get my foot in the door. And I love sitting down, having conversations, talking with people one-on-one. So this is going to be a lot of fun today.
Yeah, cool. So what was your degree? Broadcasting?
Yes, my degree was a Bachelor of Applied Arts degree in Broadcast and Cinematic Arts, and I minored in Sport Management, so kind of the front office aspect more so of sports, but it's really just to shift my focus down to sports broadcasting is why I got the minor.
Right. Okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. Cool. So you are someone who has done a lot of sports commentary. You do a lot of sports commentating, and you are linked to the crew at Speedcubing TV. Who I did think I saw them in the chat earlier as well. So before we get into like close to cubing, I would love to know a bit about your experience in commentating and which sports you've commentated on. What sport? Maybe you were commentating last week. I don't know. Like what areas are you involved in? What sports are you involved in commentating?
Absolutely. Well, I'll kind of backtrack just a little bit. I
Sure.
think the earliest memory I had of commentary was actually, this was years and years ago, probably when I was about 4 or 5 years old. Growing up in Michigan, I was watching Detroit Tigers baseball with my dad. And what I would do at times is I would go ahead and mimic the broadcasters and the announcers whenever a new Tigers hitter walked up to the plate. I would emphatically announce their name just to put myself almost in that environment as if I was the broadcaster or the announcer for the game. So I would say that's my earliest memory. And the funny thing is, I never really thought much after that until after high school. I graduated high school in 2021, and really how I got the start in commentary was I had met Matthew Mernick and Matt Rosman. All three of us went to the same high school together, based in Michigan. And from there, we took a media production class together where I learned the ins and outs of running a camera, editing in studio, and really doing live field production. Because in that class, you had the opportunity to live stream sporting events for the community. So for 3 years, I would basically build my skills, whether running a camera, directing, or I should say technical directing the live stream, and then being a runner, just being that asset to where, wherever someone needs a battery to be changed, I would do that for them and all the other miscellaneous tasks in between. And the commentary portion really started in December of 2021. This is going to sound.
Oh shoot, we have lost Michael. Oh, you're back. You're back. You're back.
I'm back. I don't know what happened there, but you
Oh,
know
good.
what? Show must go on.
Do you maybe want to check what network you're on? What wireless network? Because you've frozen up again. I know my internet crapped out last night, but it looks stable. We've not got audio now.
You got me?
I've got you now, yeah. Are you on?
Yeah, I've got you.
You're on the right wireless network?
I'd like to think that I am, yes.
Am I on the right wireless network? Yes. Great.
Yeah, because we both got each other.
Yeah. Sweet. No, you were...
Wouldn't be...
I'm trying to think where you cut off. You were talking about
So I cut
after
off.
high school. Yeah.
Yeah, I cut off after how I started commentary after high school. And this is going to sound ridiculous, but this is how it happened, I was working at a local Taco Bell like 10 minutes from my house, and I still work there to this day, almost 4 years now. And my boss at the time of the TV station that I was working at in the high school, him and I were just chatting it up because he was picking up some dinner in the drive-thru, and he, on a whim, he said to me, hey, we're looking for a play-by-play commentator for the upcoming basketball season. Would you be interested in doing that? I said, absolutely. And at the time, it was just about 2 weeks before the start of the season. So I really had to dig deep and do as much as I can to prepare for the upcoming basketball season. I had to reach out to the coach, who are the players I'm going to be looking for. Had to make sure I got rosters for both teams. And the thing is with high school sports here in the United States, you really don't have a lot in terms of preparation, so it's pretty minimal what you do in order to prepare for a broadcast. You're sure you can get little nuggets of information from social media, but there's really not much in terms of commentary. So the very first sport I started commentating was basketball. And from there, as I continued on with basketball, that's when the more opportunities came in. I got the opportunity to announce for you guys American football
Hmm.
at the University of Michigan for 2 years. We were able to go to, they call it the Big House here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. It's the largest college football stadium in America.
Oh,
Over
wow. Okay.
110,000 seats. Over 110,000 seats.
Dang.
So yeah, there's a whole big crowd there in Ann Arbor, but we got to go there twice at the very beginning of the football season to announce a couple games. Those were at the beginning of the season. That was usually the neutral site games that they got out of the way just for that bowl type of environment that the students were looking to play in, so they were all excited to do that. And then from there on in high school, I announced mainly 4 sports: football, basketball, baseball, and lacrosse. And then from high school, I took that to college at Central Michigan. And from there, I had basically gone from 4 sports now to 7. And during my time in Central, I had broadcasted high school football because we have a guy that does college football for us. But 2 high school teams came to Mount Pleasant, where Central Michigan's located, and I was able to broadcast the game from the broadcast booth in our football stadium with one of my good friends, Luke Shaft. Um, so him and I were able to do the game. So I've announced high school football, men's and women's basketball. I do that on student radio. And then I've done baseball and softball on student radio. And then I've also done field hockey, lacrosse, and ice hockey as well. So 7 different sports in my time at CMU. 2 years at CMU, by the way, because I started out at community college.
Yeah, wow. I love we've got some there's interesting parallels in our lives, because I remember when did you do that masterclass on Discord with Speedcubing TV? You sort of held a little briefing for commentators. It was a few months back now. But whenever you were doing it,
Yes.
I jumped into that just because I was interested. And I was taken aback by your process and how like you had systems, right? There's no successful people have successful systems, they say, you know? And I was just listening to that going, I love this. I love to hear this, because I've been a professional broadcaster in radio as like a presenter, not a commentator. But it's so funny hearing that parallel about you pretending to commentate. Because I did the same thing when I was a kid. This is a deep 90s cut, right? I would have my CDs and a tape recorder, and I would just pretend to be a radio announcer, like pretend to be like introducing the next song and being like, "Oh, that was this song by this person, and now I'm going to play this song by this person." And I would just tape these dumb little radio shows, and like it wasn't until like, you know, geez, I don't know how, I can't remember how old I was back then, but I was in primary school anyway. But it wasn't until I was 30 that I was on the radio. So it's funny how that comes around. You know, you show interest in something pretty young, and it just sticks with you, doesn't it? It's always there. My wife famously, she's a doctor. She famously got caught attempting to operate on her younger brother when she was about 5 or 6. With like a butter knife.
Oh my goodness.
She didn't have a scalpel or
yeah.
anything. I think that, you know, they were just pretending. But
Thank
like,
goodness.
her mom walked in on her just like, what's going on here? She's like, I'm a doctor. Like, Dad, look. So wow, 7 sports. Okay, so and are they all sports that you knew before you got into them? Like I know some of us, in depending on which country we grew up in, like I grew up with football or soccer. You'll have grown up with American football or weird rugby, as I call it. And you know, you grow up with what you know, and you know what you know. But like lacrosse and all these other things, basketball, like did you know them before you started commentating, or did you just deep dive into them and get started?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, Mike. Pretty much most of the sports that I commentate, I already knew offhand. Football, I know very well. Baseball was the very first sport that I grew up on, and I still watch it to this day, so I have a pretty deep knowledge of baseball.
Sure.
And softball's relatively the same sport, just obviously different field dimensions.
Right.
And then basketball I knew pretty well. I would say, though, I probably started watching baseball first, and then I branched out into other sports. Football, then probably basketball, then probably ice hockey. For lacrosse, it's an interesting story because while I was in my senior year of high school in 2021, I also got the opportunity before I did play-by-play to be the public address announcer or the in-stadium announcer for Clarkston Lacrosse. And I just concluded my 5th season as the public address announcer for them. So that was a sport that I actually had to do research on. And by the time I was given that opportunity, I had a week to get researched on it and well informed enough on it before I started training to be a public address announcer. And thank goodness I had such an easygoing mentor to help me with that process, Steve Kraft. He retired after the 2021 season from announcing, but he really made it just an easy process for me. It's just like all you really got to do is just, identify the number who scored, announce the name, and, if you want to put a little energy behind that, you can do so. So, sure enough, that's what I did in the first goal call, and he's just like, wow, that was really good. I said,
Nice.
It was? And he's just like, yeah. He says, yeah, it was, stick with that. So he was around just in case I ever had any questions, but I really started announcing on my own in 2022, doing both junior varsity and varsity lacrosse, boys and girls for Clarkston, and built a deep relationship with the athletic department there. And to being able to do games, whether it's public address or play-by-play for your hometown that you're growing up in right now, it's not a lot of people can say that. And I mean, I am very blessed to be doing what I do here for Clarkston.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so let's bring it back round to what the majority of my audience are going to be here to hear about, which is obviously you're going to be involved in SpeedCube commentary. Because of the link with Mayor Nick and Rosman, those guys from high school, and you all studied broadcasting and things like that. So you're coming into, I understand you're commentating, correct me if I'm wrong, you're doing Worlds, or you're doing part of Worlds, and you're doing
I am doing part of Worlds, yes. I will be doing the Nations Cup Thursday night.
Great.
And then I will be also doing the third group of Square One Round One on Sunday. And then I'm also doing the first two groups of 3x3 Round Two on Sunday.
Oh, epic. Okay, cool. I'm excited to see you doing some 3x3. That'll be great. Square One freaks me out, but the rest of it will be fine. So
I'm super excited.
You're doing Worlds. You're also doing North American Champs, the All-Stars?
Yes, I think they are trying to make arrangements to bring me on for possibly All-Stars coming up in November and later this year, and possibly PSL Las Vegas. We have yet to get both of those things really in motion yet, but I know PSL is going to be coming up sooner because it's just in September. So I'll have to reach out to those guys, just check my availability and see if I can, because I mean, I'd love to be a part of a lot of this stuff because it's been a blast.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's your exposure to speedcubing been so far? Like, when did you even know it existed? Is that through Mayornik?
Yes, that is definitely through Mayornik. So I've known him since high school, and I knew he had the idea of starting, at the time, Happy Feet Productions. Now we're rebranded to Speedcubing TV. But I never really understood where it could go until I saw it happening. In 2022, that's when he got started filming competitions. And it was an email sent to Mayornik from John Epley, basically saying, like, hey, I do have experience streaming competitions before, and this competition they were going to live stream was the Blue Water Bridge Open in 2022. So John basically sent Matt an inquiry trying to inquire with him about live streaming competition because he had prior experience doing that. And pretty much the rest is history. I mean, the two got together. They started live streaming with the Blue Water Bridge Open. Got to actually see a little bit of that today as a throwback, which was really cool to see because you had Matt Mayornik on commentary and then his buddy Owen Colleen on commentary, who I also know from the same high school. So it was really cool to see where Happy Feet started out to where we are now. And just touching on what I've been doing with speedcubing, I was the first independent contractor that Matt had hired for Speedcubing TV. And my first competition that I was a part of the stream team for was Michigan Championships 2023 back in July in Port Huron. So there I was the technical director for the live stream. So all the camera switches and all the replays you were doing, I was in command behind that. And ever since that, I've sort of been a relatively consistent member of these different competitions. I have a list of them right here. I've done Michigan Champs 2023 and 24. I've also done North American All-Stars 2024. I've done NAC 2024. And my commentary debut was on Indiana Championships 2024, and that was when I was still up at Central Michigan. Doing it from my dorm there. So a little bit of experience in commentary, and then obviously we got Worlds coming up, which I'm in the process of preparing for, and I actually fly out Sunday afternoon to Seattle, so I'll be making sure I do some work on the plane to prepare myself for that.
Yeah, because it's not this weekend. Is it next weekend? When's Worlds again? I forget.
It is next weekend.
Next weekend,
we'll be
yeah.
flying. I'll be flying out Sunday just to get to Seattle. We'll get there early. We'll start setting up on Wednesday, and then Thursday through Sunday it's showtime.
Heck yeah, no, that's exciting. So, not completely green to the world of speedcubing then. You have some knowledge. Well, you have a fair amount of knowledge actually, because you've been on the tech team for a lot of it. So you've seen a lot of competitions happening. What does it look like though, to start prepping? Like, obviously you're learning team rosters and stuff for team sports. I'm trying to think from what the sports you've told me, it's always been team sports so far. Hey. So what is it like then coming up against a roster like what we've got for Worlds with like 2,000 competitors, you know? I mean, obviously you won't be commentating for everyone, but like, I'm just really interested in like your process of prep for something like this.
Sure. So what I've been thinking about doing for Worlds is, and you mentioned it, there's about 2,000 competitors from over 70 different countries. So, I mean, that alone right there is a huge feat in itself. So what I would probably do for this case in terms of commentary is, what are the more household names that you hear in cubing? The Luke Garretts, the Luke Greisers, the Yi Hung Wangs, the Max Parks, you name it. Anybody else that, could show up as a huge competitor, even wild cards, It wouldn't hurt just to collect multiple names of those and just start prepping. Like, what I do for team sports is I call them play-by-play boards, and I don't know if you remember in the workshop that I did back in March, I showcased some of my play-by-play boards that I would use for team sports. So my process sort of looked like, okay, I'll go down a list of names, I can gather information for each of their events that they're in, pretty much for all the events that they do. I'll take their, what's their PR single, what's their PR average, what's that nationally, what's that ranked in the world, what's that ranked nationally. And really, I'll just compile that all together, and if I can find, where they're from in the world, I'll also put that too. Any nuggets of information that can make it more on a personal level, because these speed cubers, they're human beings like all of us. Yes, we view them as speed cubers, but they're also human beings. So, in a way, you also want to be able to inform the viewers, yes, we're so focused on the results, but what are some other nuggets of information that they may not know? So that's where a lot of prep and research can come in, If you look online somewhere, you'll be sure to find some nuggets of information. Yeah. But in terms of Nations Cup and some other stuff, you can go to previous competitions too, see their results, and you can definitely throw that in there like, hey, this is what happened in Nations Cup 2017, when the USA lost to Australia on a +2 penalty, when the USA at the time originally thought they had beaten Australia by, I think, 0.16 seconds at the time, until a judge ruled it was a +2, and Australia got the win, and they were able to advance to the finals. So any nuggets of information like that, whether it's previous competitions that they've gone to, it's all useful stuff to record. And even if you don't use all the information or get to all the cubers, that's okay, because you can focus on what's in front of you at the competition, and the rest will come to you naturally.
Yeah. You seem to have like an aptitude for remembering things. Anyone who's watched this show before will know that I don't have a functioning short-term memory pretty much. Like, I just can't retain information for that long. Even the kids that I see at competitions here at nationals, I'm always just like, what's NR again? What's this again? And I might have looked it up 5 minutes ago and it just goes out of my head. Do you think, is that fair to say that you've got like a natural aptitude? Because just in the way that you've talked so far, you'll say this competition in this year, this competition in this year, this person, they beat them by this time. Like, you seem to be able to store an unreasonable amount of random access memory. You've got an incredible amount of RAM in your head, terabytes of it.
And to answer your question, I would say that is fair. I mean, even from a young age, I, for whatever reason, was always able to pinpoint certain dates of when stuff happens. I can pinpoint certain amount of times when stuff has happened in my life, and any other time that, our family went on vacations or something, or different facts about sports. Heck, even facts about speed cubing. Because I've been on the tech team for all these years doesn't mean that I can't learn about speed cubing and, what's been going on in the community. And all that's just research too. I'll sometimes even look up in my own time, like preparing for Nations Cup. I've been so focused on that I'll look up. I was actually watching Nations Cup 2017 a couple nights ago when it was that nail-biting Final Four, and Germany ended up taking the inaugural Nations Cup, and which they did in back-to-back years in 2017 and 19. And obviously, we had the COVID year, and 2021 was canceled as well. China won it in 2023, so I don't know if you folks in the chat or you, Mike, are seeing a pattern here, but it could allude to something special at Worlds.
Okay, well, I was just going to ask, then you know way more about this than I do. Who's your call for Nations Cup this year? Or are you allowed to? Are you allowed as a commentator to have opinions like that? I don't know. Is that ethical?
Yeah, I mean, I think when it's commentary, I mean, if you're at a point, because you hear, I don't know if you've heard about this too, Mike, but there's inevitably this thing in sports called the broadcaster's jinx. It's something that has surfaced a long, long time, and basically it could either be like a good thing or a bad thing. Usually, when you say broadcaster jinx, sometimes it can be a bad thing.
Okay.
But usually, I wouldn't say it's totally unethical to make predictions like that, but I would say as long as you keep it professional and as long as you're accounting for everybody, because I mean, you'll have some commentators, we call them homers, who basically root for their home team.
Yeah.
And basically almost not necessarily throw shade, but not make a good call for the visiting team or for another country in this instance. For me, I want to give everybody the spotlight. I want to paint everybody in a fair light, and I want to do so in a professional way. That doesn't mean, you can call it like it is as a commentator. And I think that's what's lost among commentators nowadays is, sometimes, something very unfortunate will happen. Like, for instance, I grew up I'm in Michigan right now. The Detroit Lions lost 45-31 to the Washington Commanders in the NFC divisional round. And the radio voice for the Detroit Lions, Dan Miller, this is a guy who's been doing Lions play-by-play for 20 years. And he also does TV news for Fox 2 in Detroit. And he got on the air and he basically said, look, this wasn't about the injuries. This was a bad time to play some bad football. So there's nothing wrong with telling it like it is.
Yeah. Okay.
And sometimes, whether that's here or there, good or bad, you always want to be authentic. And if it means telling it like it is, that's what you got to do, because you want to be able to paint an accurate picture for your audience and get what's in front of you right.
Yeah, sure. You expertly dodged the question as well. And I love that.
I did. Yes.
Have you got? I mean, obviously you'll be
answer your question though.
You'll be
answer your question though.
You'll obviously be rooting for the US, but who do you think's favorite? That's.
I think China's.
Objective.
I think China's a favorite.
Who's playing in Nations Cup for China? Do we know that?
It is going to be Yihang Wang.
Yeah.
It is going to be Xuan Yigang, and I believe Bofan as well. So, I mean, I want to say, I'm not too sure if that's the same three people that were in 2023 when they participated in 2023 at Worlds. I don't think it is. But, I mean, when you have Yihang, Bofan, and Xuan Yi, three of the greatest to ever do it to represent China, it's hard not to root against them.
Yeah.
I think they are the undisputed favorite right now.
Absolutely. I mean, in my head, it's Xuan Yi versus Yihang for world champion in 3x3. So and I think they're top two on the psych sheet as well. So just that in itself is just oh, okay. Whoops. And I'm pushing you for information off the top of your head now, but who's the US? Who's representing
the
US?
The US is going to be Luke Garrett, Max Park, and Luke Greiser, I want to say.
Double Luke and a Max. Okay, sick.
We got two Lukes and a Max, so I'm super excited to watch them hopefully shine on the biggest stage at Worlds and hopefully make a run and maybe give some other countries a run for their money. Because I mean, some of the U.S. cubers that I've seen are just outstanding.
Yeah, right. I don't even know who's representing New Zealand in the Nations Cup. That's terrible. That's terrible. I imagine it'll be Dwayne.
Oh no!
I'll have to find that out. Or if anyone's watching from New Zealand in the chat, they can let me know.
I want to say,
is that roster
you can
public?
correct me if I'm. You can correct me if I'm wrong about New Zealand. It's Dwayne Ramos. I believe it's Jasper Murray.
Right.
I also think it's Chris Mills. I want to say
Mills, of course.
I could be wrong, but I think it's those three.
I can't remember if
Jasper, Dwayne, and Chris.
I can't remember if Richard Tao is going because he's. I'm sure he represents New Zealand. He competes in New Zealand. I'm sure he represents New Zealand. I don't know if I can. Is it publicly available? The Nations Cup. I'm just looking this up now.
The spreadsheet that I received actually this morning, it does say public on it. If you want, I can share that with you after this.
Oh yeah, sure. Or if Matthew, if Mayor Nick's in the chat, you can let me know because I'm sure he'll have access to the spreadsheet, or whoever's chatting on behalf of Speedcubing TV. Exciting, very exciting. I've not watched the Nations Cup before. I've not really become invested in it yet. I actually I've just seen a great question in the chat from Projta. I'm sure you'll know the name Mike Breen.
Oh yeah.
So Mike Breen, Projta's informing me, made the word "bang" iconic in NBA commentary. Do you have or do you want to have any sort of catchphrase? Is there a certain phrase you're known for, or?
That's a really good question. And I think to answer this, each broadcaster can develop their own phrases. As he mentioned, Mike Breen with "bang." He's famous for that. And, another famous announcer, Michael Buffer, he mainly does boxing, but he was known for his famous one-liner at the beginning of every single boxing event. Let's get ready to rumble!
The Rumble guy. Yeah, okay.
Yes, so Michael Buffer is famous for that. You have other guys like Jim Nance, Kevin Harlan, who have become famous on different things they say. So I think in any way, there's sort of some stuff that you can say. During the heydays of when I started commentary on a slam dunk, I would usually say, "Look out below," or something. Or I've been thinking about saying, like brace for impact if it's like, you're expecting a dunk coming, batten down the hatches and brace for impact or something. But really with commentary, I don't try to focus on the catchphrases too much. Sure, some may come to you naturally, but I think that's really how the catchphrase starts. It's got to come to you naturally. I don't really want it to sound forced because it doesn't really make it authentic. Because what you want to be when you're a commentator, just be yourself. And this is from talking to Dan Miller in the past. I actually had him on a podcast that I was doing up at Central. And, some other household names, Johnny Kane, a reporter for the Tigers and Pistons, and even talking with some of my mentors at CMU, Adam Jaxa, Jesse Goldberg-Strassler. They all said to me the same thing. When you're broadcasting, just be yourself. There shouldn't be a TV or radio version of you or your voice. You shouldn't force the voice. Just be you. Be your authentic self. And if you let that shine through, the rest will start coming to you naturally.
Okay, sick. Sorry, I'm just getting ever so slightly distracted. Someone's sending me the spreadsheet just now. Someone sent me a... wait,
okay.
Here we go. No, you're fine, sorry. I think this is the one. I'm in streamer mode, hold on. Carter, are you average? Oh, Carter T. Is that you? I'll just accept a couple of friend requests and see what comes through. Oh, here we go. I've got the Nations Cup. Thank you, Carter. And whoever it was,
Perfect.
Accepted a friend request as well. So what are we looking at here? Oh, there's the bracket. Okay, so yes, China, Yihan.
I'd received this from Kevin Hayes at the time. He had told me about 40 different countries had signed up, and I think they narrowed it down to 32. So there was a lot of processing that they had to go through.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm here. I'm seeing New Zealand now, and you were absolutely bang on the money. Jasper Murray, Dwayne Ramos, Chris Mills. Very, very exciting. And the USA, yeah, you've got the two Lukes and Max Park as well. I'll share this in the chat because I can post links. So you guys can go and have a look at that on your own time as well. Maybe we'll take a look at that later. That'd be good. That's some content right there. Yeah, John Epley and Speedcubing TV in the chat saying, can confirm Rosenkranz is the same on and off camera. Cool. So I wanted to get into, I'm not sure how much of it you've watched so far, but there has been some chatter, and it's happened on interviews on this channel. When I was talking to Felix, when I was talking to Projta, who's in the chat right now, there are some thoughts and feelings and emotions about the commentary that we've had so far in speedcubing, and I wanted to maybe just briefly get your thoughts on that. I think I was actually talking to Michael Chai about this just the other day. And while I think the commentary while I feel like the criticism is valid, in so much as it hasn't been perfect, I think it's we need to just keep in mind that the people, generally speaking, who have been doing commentary so far that we've seen, the cubers doing commentary, it's easy to forget that they are cubers, not commentators. And there is no reason to expect them to be amazing at commentary because they haven't practiced it. Manu's done a few now. Manu has done a few. Chris Mills has done a few. Who is it in Australia? Michael Tripodi or Tripoli? I can't remember.
Michael Tripodi. Yep.
Tripodi, yeah, thank you. He's quite good, actually. He's got a natural sort of air about him, I think, and just in the way he presents himself as a color commentator. Am I using that term right? You'd be a play-by-play. Is that what you do, or color?
Play-by-play is what I do. Color commentator is the person who would analyze your play, your solves, basically can break it down algorithm by algorithm. So yes, you're correct.
Okay, cool. So you're play-by-play, and then you would have someone who is really deep in the knowledge about the rules of the game, the technicalities of the game. That's your color commentator. Okay, cool. I feel like I always get that the wrong way around. But okay, yes, what was I asking? I was asking you on your thoughts on the commentary that we've seen so far outside yourself. And have you got any advice, perhaps, or some thoughts or feedback for people who have been commentating so far in cubing?
Yeah, this is a really good question. So I think in terms of cubing commentary, you hit it right on the money, Mike. It's easy to forget that these are speed cubers, not commentators. It's hard to get training for broadcasting, and heck, even I started doing this in high school. I had no training, and I'm not saying that to for any shock value or nothing. I had no training doing this, so it was really for me just being able to listen to broadcasters that I admire in the sports industry and really learn a lot of stuff from them, and getting to talk with some of them and getting to listen to most of them. And I think how we can translate that into cubing is, there needs to be, I think, a level of understanding from people that, yeah, there needs to be, a space where these people can feel safe, because let's just face it, when people hide behind a screen, it's easy to put negative things in the chat and be able to call people out on it when they're wrong or something. It happens all the time. So I think in a way, for anybody to get better at commentary, whether it's sports or cubing, I'll take cubing as an example, but this also applies to sports too. The only way to get better at commentary is if you just do one simple thing, and that is just practice. It's the same way you get into Carnegie Hall in the United States, for music. You practice, practice, practice. Listen to yourself. Listen to how you're presenting information. Listen to how you present things to an audience. Listen to your energy. Are you being a little too over the top, or are you being a little more reserved when it comes to your energy? And I think a good analogy for this is I had a professor at Central Michigan by the name of Mike Potter, wonderful human, and he told me a camera is like an energy vampire. And it may sound like a ridiculous analogy, but think about it. When you're sitting in front of a camera, basically talking to yourself and talking to a camera and talking to, heck, your color commentator in a sense, it can feel nerve-wracking. It feels unnatural. and it sort of subconsciously takes that energy away from you. So let's say you were maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, thought you were giving an 8 when it comes to commentary. That camera brings you down to about a 5 or 6.
Right.
So it's like when you're commentating, it's like, yes, it's unnatural to talk to a camera, and it's something that I still am learning how to do each and every day, whether it's just a conversation, whether I'm addressing an audience, and really doing anything else for work when I'm doing, stand-ups for a TV station that I work at right now. But I think it's really big to understand that nobody is perfect. Commentary is not perfect. I'm not saying I'm perfect in any general capacity whatsoever, because I'm not. I make mistakes all the time. In Indiana championships, I had people calling me out because I didn't know the correct colors I was talking when the cross colors when I was talking, and I would get called out on that. And yes, I did take it as, okay, this is something I need to learn, and this is something I need to ask about. There's nothing wrong with asking, your color commentator, heck, people for the matter, if you know something about this, get information. And even if you have questions on the air during a broadcast for your color commentator that they know more than you do, ask them. It never hurts to ask, because what it should be when you're commentating is just a conversation between the audience, between your color commentator, and the community that you're doing. That's all it is a conversation. And, do you need to bring the energy at certain points? Yeah. If there's a sub 5 solve, sub 4 single that we could potentially see, just above a 4, a mid 4 single, that's exciting stuff. So I think in a way, it's all about how you present information to the audience. It's about your energy levels. And remember, nothing's perfect. Nothing ever will be perfect. But as long as you keep practicing, because I'm telling you guys, whoever want to become commentators, practice is key. Being able to listen to yourself is key, and it's very uncomfortable to listen to yourself and your own voice on a recording. I understand that. But it's really important to keep practicing, to listen to yourself over again. Heck, even if you want to mute a video on YouTube, practice commentary for that competition. Do a little 5 to 10 minute segment. Listen to yourself every day. I promise you, if you do that and keep wanting to improve, asking yourself, what can I do to get better? Concising information, explaining it where it needs to be explained, you're going to become a much better broadcaster.
Yeah, I love that. It's exactly the same approach that I've kind of used, because like when I was on radio, I would always listen back and just be like, did I sound like an idiot there? Yeah, I probably did. How could I have not done that? What could I have done better? Could I have handled that better? And same with the show as well here. Like obviously I listen to it basically straight away because I'm putting in all the timestamps, and then I'm cutting up the VODs. So I spend a lot of time listening to myself, and while I'm listening to myself, I'm being critical as well. I'm just being like, that was a weird thing to say. I don't know where that came from. And sometimes it's just like, especially on live stuff, you're like, well, okay, maybe if that situation presents itself again, I can do that better. But I think that's really good advice, is to just do it and listen to yourself. I've given this advice to not that I'm a guru of anything, but to other YouTubers as well, where they're just like, oh, I don't know about this video. I've done this, because people will reach out sometimes, and I'll just like, well, it's okay to make a video and not publish it. It's okay to record a script and think, actually, that was rubbish. Like, why there's a strange expectation that you're going to nail everything in one take. And having been in the music industry, let me tell you, nothing's one take. Even if you think your first take is good, you're always going to go back and do another one, or maybe a 3. You might go back to the first, but nobody's doing one takes. Hearing people talking about epic one takes is like hearing people talking about their epic business that blew up and went absolutely crazy. It's just like, okay, so this is the person who got lucky. And we're taking that as gospel, So yeah, listening to yourself is huge. That's the only way you can get comfortable with the sound of your own voice. It's apparent that I'm more than comfortable with the sound of my own voice. Some might say I love the sound of it, and I would find that hard to argue. Honestly, I've listened to it that much. I'm so used to it. I'm just like, oh yeah, it's this guy again. Let me think. We were talking about commentating so far. And people need to practice. I did see a comment from Carter. This was in reaction to me saying, what was I saying? I said, we've had cubers in positions at commentating that are what they are. They're cubers first and they're commentators second. And Carter's saying, to be fair, their job for this comp is to commentate. They were selected specifically for this reason, so I don't really think it's fair to use that inexperience point. I would push back on that and say, no, it totally is, because they haven't done it and they're learning. They haven't. It just hasn't happened. We are still so young in cubing commentary. The discourse on various conversations and various forums, from looking at it from my objective point of view, I'm just like, I don't actually think the community agrees what good commentary is even yet in speedcubing. So I suppose that's a question for you, having watched what you've watched, is there something different that you think you're going to bring compared to what you've seen? Like, I'm personally really excited to see someone who is not a cuber first commentating, because I think that's the direction we need to go if we are going to achieve the goal of growing cubing and getting in front of non-cubers and making it watchable, you know? So is there something coming in your delivery for speed cubing that you think maybe hasn't been done before?
Well, it's interesting because, you know, when doing broadcasting, you're not really wanting to try. I don't really like to try and reinvent the wheel, but I mean, speed cubing, you mentioned, Mike, is in a position where it's still a very niche thing. We're still in its infancy almost, if you want to call it, even though Worlds has been going on since the 1980s. So, I mean, it's not like we're new to this before. This is going to be the 12th rendition coming up in Seattle. So I don't want to necessarily say I'm going to try and reinvent the wheel, but what I can tell you about Worlds is what I'm going to try and do, and with any single broadcast that I go into, I want to bring authenticity, I want to bring professionalism, I want to bring energy to a live stream, because the most important thing you want to do as the broadcaster is you're essentially like the maestro of everything. You basically... I remember looking at this philosophy a while back. I remember hearing it a while back. Collective effervescence. It's like everybody's coming together, almost sort of riding this wave of emotion, this spiritual wave. And, you know, it's almost like, and the broadcaster's job is, you know, to bring everyone together, be that collective effervescence as we come together to watch this competition. And you want to be able to present it to them in a way that's authentic, that's honest, that is open with them, that's conversational, and that's professional with them. Yes, a broadcaster's job is supposed to be professional, but this is fun stuff. Let's have fun while we're at it. I mean, this is World Championships 2025. We just saw Xuan Yigong get a 3.05 3x3 world record single. We're on the verge of the sub-3 barrier being broken. So that is going to be something that we're going to be constantly talking about and watching out for. We could be alluding to it in the World's broadcast. So I would say, for me, I want to be that trusted voice. And, you know, preparation helps with that. The more prepared you are, the less nervous you'll go into a broadcast. Even when I prepare for a broadcast, I'm nervous. It's general nerves. That's okay. Those nerves will happen. And they should be expected when you're in front of the camera talking to a massive audience of going to be around 4 to 5 figures watching on YouTube. So it's going to be it could be a lot of pressure. Heck, I even put pressure on myself when I do commentary because I want to push myself to be the best I can be and, you know, basically do what I can do, be as honest as I can, be open as I can, and the rest will come to you naturally. Let the competition come to you naturally first before anything. And the rest is style, and that's, again, from listening to yourself. Be you. Find your own style. Have your own style of broadcasting. Have your own things that you say, you know, and the rest will come naturally to yourself as you go along. But I think just to wrap it up, to answer your question, I want to bring professionalism, energy, honesty, authenticity, and I'm going to make sure we're going to have a lot of fun in here and make sure everyone is comfortable and make sure they're in for a good time at Worlds.
Yeah, cool. Carter's bringing up an interesting point in the chat, and this is getting in technicalities. Dylan's here as well. Hello, Dylan. Carter's talking about pace commentary, and he's speaking specifically about big cubes. But obviously, if you're in an event like PSL, you're commentating 3x3. So while the solve is happening, whose role do you think it is to commentate? Is it play-by-play or is it color while the actual solve is happening? Or is it a combo? Is there a formula? Like, because obviously I feel like probably in the slow-mo replay, which by the way, what a gift to cubing. Like being able to use those slow-mo replays that Mayernix brought in is just incredible.
It's phenomenal. No, never in a million years did I think we could bring instant replay to speed cubing, and just to see it flourish over the years, it's phenomenal. And I mean, I absolutely love it every time we see that replay graphic and being able to show the audience, hey, this is what happened, or we can show a technicality because of this, or look how amazing this solve was. It's phenomenal. I mean, this is the future of what it's going to be like.
And is the slow-mo, so what I'm asking, I guess, is this the slow-mo replay? Is that when you're stepping back and letting the color commentator shine? Is that their opportunity to talk in the slow-mo? Unless there's something like really obvious, I think Dylan mentioned, like, you know, if there's a big lockup, like obviously you're going to be able to comment on that and be like, oh dang, okay, he's hung up, here we go. You know, like who's talking in the slow-mo replay?
Yeah, so how I envisioned this, and when I was commentating Indiana Championships with Dylan Miller back when I was at Central Michigan, I was play-by-play, Dylan was color, and how I basically talked about it with Marinick and with him was, and basically let it happen was, I would give play-by-play on the solve, and basically once the replay started and when the solve ended, when I got done saying what I needed to say, I handed the floor over to Dylan so he could comment on the solve. We could go to the instant replay, slow it down for him, so it could make it more recognizable. But even at regular speed cubers who've done this for so long are going to be able to tell the algorithms and all the movesets anyways. So, I mean, for a slow-mo replay, yes, I would say keep it to your color analyst. Or even if you want to jump in, during a replay of something that you noticed afterwards, if you want to rewind it or something on a technicality and you want to provide insight to that, that's okay. But for me, what I find works best is I can comment on the solve, and since this is a video live stream, I'm going to treat it as a TV call, and I learned in school when doing this, is when there's a video call, a TV call, you want to be a little less emphasis on the play-by-play, still give play-by-play, but it doesn't need to be as prevalent as the context behind it, if that makes sense. So it's like, you know, you can give a reason as to why this specifically happened, and I think it's a good idea to have your color commentator comment on the slow-mo replay, and just basically, if they say something that you find interesting, your play-by-play, you can jump right in and said, yeah, I thought that was a really interesting point. I mean, this happens. Does this happen pretty often? Or, you know, is this something that's irregular for a solve such as this? I mean, I remember at one point in PSL, they were debating a corner twist that took a long time for the judges to get right. And, you know, they kept on going back at it. So I think for those elongated forms where a technicality comes in, I think it's really important to have both announcers sort of give their piece onto it. But I would say for your standard solves, when it comes to the big cubes or any cubes, let your color commentator do the analytical work for you. Because play-by-play commentators, sure, they might have done a sport or something in their youth or their previous years, but most play-by-play guys, they study the sport, but those speed cubers and those other professional athletes, they live that sport. Use them as a resource. Use them as information for the audience. It's going to make it so much better for the audience and for your broadcast in general.
Yeah, right. Okay, cool. I hear you. I absolutely hear you on that. What was the competition that you and Dylan did? I might take a look at that later in the stream.
Indiana Championships 2024. It's on speedcubing TV. It's on speedcubing TV under the live tab. That was the one where I think it was Luke Garrett and Luke Greiser were going at each other for another time, and I think that was a competition where Luke. I can't remember which Luke it was, but somebody had won 3 straight tournament titles other than other Luke. So kind of cementing sort of that Luke v. Luke rivalry that everybody talks about. You
Yeah,
know,
right.
they're very acclimated with each other. They know each other very well. And of course, they went head to head together in North American Championships last year, which was awesome to see. Which that was still one of the probably the greatest moments I ever saw in speed cubing when Luke Greiser guaranteed a podium at NAC. Because I mean, this is a guy who's been grinding and grinding for so long and has been through so much in the past couple years, and really just being able to hone that down and just being able to tune the noise out and clutch up when he needs it the most. That's the kind of stories that we live for. So I love those inspirational stories like that, and I would argue this is what we need to bring to speed cubing, a storytelling element to make things very interesting for the audience.
Yeah, right. I think I mentioned this last time I was on stream or whatever. I mentioned it previously, but we have some really good storytellers emerging, and I think it's like that's the kind of content we're looking for in cubing. I think to make it relatable, and you can see it happening in people like StuCube's videos and Matthew Mayernick as well. There's another kid whose name I forget, but I just call him Little StuCube because he's a very similar style, but he tells a good story as well. And I'm so sorry if if they're watching and going, that's me, you idiot. But I am an idiot, so, you know, guilty. But yeah, the storytelling is great. And you see them getting really good views because they're telling a story that can be understood by cubers and can be understood by non-cubers as well. And that kind of brings me to the next point, which is how do you manage, and maybe this is just having a color and a play-by-play combo, but how do you manage and how are you thinking about entertaining hardcore cubers who know which alg that was before the slow-mo replays come out, and just some person watching who doesn't cube but is watching? They're like me finding cornhole, or they're like Felix the other week finding geoguessing. Like, how do you make it, how do you commentate well by being but still keeping it broad reach?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think in terms of this, as I'm pretty sure now that you've established it for your audience, I'm not a speed cuber. And you know what? I'm totally okay with that. And you know what? It's, you know, the difference between a non-cuber and a speed cuber, it's interesting because I don't really think of it like that, to be honest with you. And it's like for any sport that I didn't really know. Like in Central Michigan, I had to research field hockey because I had no clue about field hockey. I didn't even know what I was getting into when I commentated field hockey a couple times. But you know what? As I do with any broadcast, you tackle it as you come through. And that circles back to my point about preparation. You want it to be able to be as prepared as possible. And for me, I like to keep things simple. I will comment on the cross color. I usually comment on the turn speed if there's a pause or a lockup. I like to keep things simple for myself because when you have a visual aspect, such as a video live stream, the cubers themselves who are hardcore and into it, they can identify the algorithms. So in a way, for me, if they know the algorithms, why should I have to explain it? And they already know what algorithm it is. Sure, you can throw to your color commentator to explain what the algorithm is, just in case people are confused, or for those who may be new to speed cubing or have zero clue about it, they can tell you the moveset or what it was. But for me, I really like to try and keep things simple, because any broadcaster has their own unique style. I listen to Manu all the time. He's a phenomenal broadcaster for cubing. He's one of the greatest that I've listened to, for sure. He's very professional, he's very energetic, and he gets into these solves quite a bit. You know, I mean, I got a chance to listen to him at NAC and NA All-Stars, and just with the 3-4 second solves in a row back to back to back, it was just special, you know, just hearing him bring that energy. And again, he can commentate on the algorithms, and I give him every right to, because, I mean, it's, you know, he knows cubing, and he can explain it for those viewers who majority of them are speed cubers. But, again, for me, I like to keep it simple. I don't really want to stress myself into learning the algorithms, which I can, not to say that I can't learn about the algorithms, which I totally can. But for me, I want to keep things as simple as possible because while the majority of the audience may be speed cubers, there's going to be some that don't know it. So that's where I can comment on the cross color, the turn speed, and if there's a pause or a lockup, this is a 5-second solve or a 7-second solve, great solve or not really the solve they were looking for, and then I will just throw the floor to my color commentator and let them take it away with the analytical stuff. So I really try and keep it as simple as I can. I don't want to stress myself out too much with something that I don't know because I don't want to paint an inaccurate picture. That's a golden rule of play-by-play because you want to get what's in front of you right. And sure, people will comment on, hey, you got this wrong. And sure, do I see those comments? Yes, of course I do. But to me, it's like, it's noise. So I know it's easier said than done, but tune the noise out.
Yeah.
Because when you're broadcasting and when that red recording light goes on, there's an expectation to your viewers that you're going to deliver something for them in an engaging manner. And, if you sound like you don't know what you're doing or you're not prepared, like, why are you even there anyway? And I don't mean to sound blunt, but it's sort of like, when that red light goes on, I mean, there's an expectation, you got to be able to deliver. You got to be able to be locked in for long hours of a day. And let's remember, these are going to be live streams that are going to be going on for 12 to 14 hours a day. These are going to be long, long days of competition. But the important thing is to just try and stay in the moment, stay locked into every single moment you can. Rest will come to you naturally.
Yeah.
But again, I just keep things as simple as I can.
So in terms of play-by-play, you're sort of doing that storytelling job a bit more than the color commentator is as well, right? You're trying to, like, as well as knowing the background and the sort of the imagined emotion coming in, you're trying to sort of put emotion to what's happening. I suppose you're tracking that during the day as well, right? You're keeping in mind that X person had a terrible round 2. They had a shocker. They just scraped into round 3 or whatever. You've got a responsibility, I suppose, to keep that story going as well, more than the color commentator does.
Absolutely. Play-by-play has a job to inform the audience, to entertain the audience, and also be there to tell stories. I mean, these are speed cubers. They're phenomenal at what they do, but they're human beings. We want to know their story.
Yeah.
And that's a great way to put it. Like you mentioned, someone barely scraped their way into round 3. That's extremely important because if they didn't have a good round 2, it's okay to mention that. You're just being honest with the viewers. So, I mean, it's not in any way to call anybody out. You're just being honest. So, that in a way, let's say somebody scraped by with not a good round 2. They're into round 3, and then they bounce back in round 3, and then they go off to the finals. They clutch up and they go to 3x3 finals. That is a massive story. And that is such a great nugget of information that you can keep throughout the day, whether it's, writing down on a blank piece of paper, just keeping notes to yourself throughout the day, because things will happen live that you'll need to keep track of as they happen. And when they happen, a day before that you want to bring into the next day and talk about it and, see if you have the replay from a day before to go back to it and delve into that a little bit. That is huge to discuss, especially in downtime. I think in downtime between rounds and groups, it's a great way to connect with the audience, to tell stories about the different cubers, what their background is, where they come from, why they represent the country they're representing, and how amazing it is to have over 70 different countries represented here in Seattle, Washington for 4th of July weekend, which, I mean, it's such a big holiday, 4th of July weekend for the United States, but we're also basically celebrating over 70 countries coming to Seattle, Washington for World Championships 2025. So it's not just about us. We're all in this together. So everybody's coming together, and it's going to be a whole bunch of stories that you can tell, especially in the downtime between groups.
Well, I was just gonna come on to that. Okay, so we're talking about juggling these. So you're handling multiple story arcs as they're developing over the rounds and over the event. Basically, arming yourself with all this stuff to talk about. When I was on radio and in live streaming and in anything, and I'm sure you'll have thoughts on this from broadcasting school, my biggest criticism from the last event I watched would have been the Australian Nationals, I think, or was it I think it was Australian Nationals or it was the Oceanic Championships. Anyway, what really, as a viewer, I found just kind of annoying was the cardinal sin of broadcasting. The amount of dead air was just like, there's so much of it, and there's inevitably going to be bits and pieces while rounds are changing and all this kind of stuff. They had a really high turnover of, this isn't to dig into the stream team that were doing that event, but there was a lot of, they had like a rolling cast of commentators, which that was a bit distracting in itself. It's, you know, there's not very grounding as a viewer, but just the dead air, because I think they had I think on reflection they probably had just too many color commentators. How, like, what's your sort of take on how do you handle dead air? Is it as much of a sin as I think it is from a radio background? How do you deal with that in commentary, in live commentary?
Absolutely. So I'll start in your background, radio. Dead air is a no-no in radio. There cannot be dead air in radio. There's got to be something playing at all times, at all hours of the day, whether it's live, pre-recorded, a voice track, you know, something's got to be going on. For the visual aspect, for a TV call, in a sense, let's remember, this is a visual medium that we're going to be live streaming on YouTube. So in my mind, I'm going to treat this as a TV call. So how I view dead air on TV, you can't have too much of it, if at all. But here's how I would think about dead air as well. Let's say we're in the final rounds on Sunday. You know, we're going to be crowning people world champions of a specific event. It is going to be very emotional. It's going to be highly energetic. And there's going to be the crowd cheering. The cubers are more than likely going to be reacting to what they just did. In my mind, dead air during those emotional moments is perfect.
Of course.
Because
tension,
with one of my... Exactly. Because one of my mentors is when you're in a situation like that where it's highly dramatic, highly emotional, and, you know, something's about to happen. Let's say... Hypothetically, I don't have the world script, everybody, but let's say hypothetically, just like North American Championships 2024, it's going to come down to the final solve. Let's just say that it comes to that. You want to be able to set up the call and just sort of let the moment speak for itself. You know, if it's quiet in the venue, which it's going to be, make sure you match that energy. You want to match that suspense so that you can bring that emotional side into it. So something like, you know, for one final time this competition, here's the inspection. And then when the inspection takes place, stop. And even when the solve takes place, if it's that dramatic, just let them solve.
Yeah.
Just let them solve. And when the solve happens, if it's a winning solve, you punch the call. You know, you make that winning call. You know, something along the lines of, the demons have been vanquished! Yi Hung Wong wins Worlds 2025!
Yeah.
And stop.
Yeah.
Just let the moment breathe. Let it breathe. Let the cuber react. Let the audience react. And when you're ready, you know, you could even give a cue to your production team. Like, say, you know, hey, cue the replay in this much time, or they'll be talking to you. We'll be cueing the replay here soon. And then when that replay comes in, your color commentator can start talking. But when it's an emotional moment like that, dead air is perfect. In those emotional moments, use dead air to your advantage. Let the moment breathe. Let the moment sink in, because this is basically, when you let it sink in and not interfere, it's almost as like you're inside the shoes of the cuber, what they're seeing. The audience cheering for them being overcome with emotions. And that's what we love about sports. And another infamous example of this was Jim Nance just previously during the Masters this past year. Rory McIlroy finally winning the Masters and finally completing the oh my gosh, I can't even remember what the term is, but he completed a really, really historical feat in golf. And same thing, Jim Nance was very short with it. The long drought is over. McIlroy has his masterpiece. And let it breathe for about 7 minutes was what I read in the news article. He let just dead air for about 7 minutes because Rory, after he made the final putt, he was on his knees. He collapsed to his knees. I mean, he was just overwhelmed with emotion. You don't want to interfere with something as pure as that.
Yeah, okay.
When there's pure emotion, just let it happen, because when they're having this emotion, good or bad, it's not about the broadcasters, it's about them. They just accomplished something that they've dreamt about, going through cubing, going through their sport from a very young age. This is something that they've dreamed about. They're on the biggest stage. Emotions are going to be high. Just let them flow and let it be as natural to you as possible.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that makes total sense in those big high pressure moments for sure. I think maybe I'm more talking about like earlier on. So when we're switching rounds, we're switching events. It's been round 1 of Scube, let's say, and we're switching into round 1 of square one or whatever like that. What kind of this is probably a question for Kevin, actually. It would have been better to ask him, given that he's leading the stream team for Worlds. But like, so the example I think of is I've done a bit of work for Sail GP. I don't know if you know them. It's like F1 racing, but with boats up on their hydrofoils, just going like 100 k's an hour. It's pretty fun. I did their social media when they were in Christchurch a couple of times, and I got to sort of work quite closely with the broadcast team, which was really fun. But what they had was a ton of assets, right? And there'll be better terms for this that I'm using probably. But so after one of the races, because they're quite short races in Sail GP, after a race they'd have a quick wrap up with the on the ground commentator, and then they would cut to an asset. It would be like an interview with one of the pilots, one of the captains of the boats, or it'd be an interview with a ground team, or it'd be some kind of pre-prepared asset that they could switch to fill that gap while the boats are just getting back round to the start line in that 5 or 10 minute gap they have between the races. So like, I suppose, so it wasn't all completely hinging on the commentators talking live constantly. Do you know does Kevin have plans to have assets like that to sort of back you up? You know what I mean? Like after something's naturally wrapping up and you've got a 5 or 10 minute wait, is there assets in production like that you can rely on?
Yeah, so what we did last year for North American Championships 2024 with Speedcubing TV is we had music going on in the background when there was a break between different rounds and different groups of people that were going. So I wouldn't be surprised if we brought back, a track of music that we'd play just to keep something going on so that there's no dead air. We'll cut the crowd mics down, make sure that there's none of that, make sure there's music going on so that there's always something going on so that there's no dead air. But also, yes, we are planning to do some interviews throughout the competition. We are going to be planning to do some mobile interviews. I'm not too sure who's going to be conducting them. My guess is it's going to be Alyssa, and I'm going to butcher her last name like crazy. I think it's Esperaz, I believe. But she did our interviews for us during the finals of 3x3 at North American Championships 2024, and she's outstanding. I mean, she has a background, I want to say, in public relations or marketing, I want to say. So that's the kind of interpersonal skills that, something like a cubing live stream like this needs to have. So yes, I would say we're going to have some interviews for Worlds that we're going to be really excited to pump out, whether it's live or pre-recorded. We're going to sit down with people, talk with them one-on-one, whether it's going to be plug and play, whether it's going to be live. We will definitely have some assets like that to keep the people entertained.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Just just keeping that engagement up. It's like we're in the brain rot stage of it on YouTube and things like that. Want things happening constantly, but it's basically that's come from somewhere. That's come from TV. You need to keep jangling the keys, otherwise people will walk away. So it's like, it's about having those switches, having it changing up and having it be something that people can really sit down and enjoy without having to wander off every 5 minutes, and without coming back and being like, what the hell's going on? Like, what is this now? So I think that's really exciting. What's super, just to kind of start wrapping up, I think what's super exciting for me is I feel like, if I step back and I look at cubing over the years and I think about my own observations and just where I think it's going, I feel like we're on the cusp right now. Like we're about to, where's the camera? We're about to start an upwards curve. I feel like we're right at the bottom of the curve. Dylan, let me know what you think about this as well, right? Because I feel like that's where we are on our trajectory upwards towards larger audiences and more accessible speedcubing and more professional events. And I feel like the most exciting thing that I'm seeing, and this is just from being, a bit of an old man and just having worked in companies and having worked in productions and having worked in like so many different things. Like I've got such a weird CV, but like what I'm seeing is cubing going from being quite insular, because we've survived for a long, long time. Speedcubing has survived for a long time on using skills that cubers happen to have. Do you know what I mean? We've even with the software team at the WCA, my understanding is that those are cubers who happen to be software people that the WCA have paid to develop their website and do all this kind of stuff. They're cubers who happen to have skills, or they're cubers who happen to have a mum or dad or relative who has skills. But the feeling that I'm getting now, and I do think Mayernick is driving this, he may not be the only one, but he's certainly, I've observed him driving this. And I think that's a really awesome thing, is he is going, okay, we need commentary. Let's get a commentator. Okay, we need someone to, and this could be Kevin doing this one. We need live interviews. Let's get someone who is good at live interviews. Not cuber first, skill second, skill first. Do you see, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I think that's only going to help cubing to grow. So I guess my very last question that I wanted to end on that kind of theme was like your thoughts as a contractor who is not a cuber, who is a professional commentator, coming in as a non-cuber, and your observation on speed cubing. Like, what are your thoughts around cubing's potential as a spectator sport, as we're at the bottom of that curve? What's your thoughts on our potential for growth?
There is a lot of potential for growth for speed cubing. I'll first start off by saying it's very niche. We've seen niche sports such as pickleball, 3-on-3 basketball gain traction. And when more people come into it and it gains popularity, that trajectory just goes through the roof. I'd almost say it's the same thing for speed cubing. And Mike, you touched on it right at the beginning of your live stream. ESPN is coming to Seattle, Washington to cover Worlds. And folks, we're just not talking about ESPN the Ocho, ESPN 9, 10, ESPN 3, ESPN 2. This is the main stage of ESPN. National TV, Sports Center, Kevin Nagandi, his cast and crew is going to be there. So it is a dream come true. This is what we've envisioned cubing could become, for years. And by having ESPN come out as part of their 50 cities, 50 days program for Sports Center, it's huge for cubing. This is a chance to basically cement this competition and basically what the entire WCA does for cubing, and really, really wow those people at ESPN. And even on the production side, we were having a meeting yesterday about Worlds, and we were just talking about, ESPN's here. Like, we want to show them, like, we're professional, we mean business, but it's like, this is a big deal. I mean, ESPN's coming for Worlds. So I think cubing is on a really, really good trajectory right now in terms of being a spectator sport, because in my mind, when you want something to be a spectator sport, it's got to have a lot of things. Number one is your digital technology, your streaming capabilities. We already see that. We already see people branching off ideas off of one another to make their live streams better, make their production better. that production quality needs to be at a high enough stage to really draw an audience in, because when something's aesthetically pleasing to the audience, that's going to make them engaged. Number two is the community. The good thing about speed cubing is, although it's very niche, it has a very, very large community who support speed cubing, who are well within range of hearing the news about it, what's been going on with different results, different regions getting into speed cubing, who may not be able to do competitions such as this, but still be drawn into the community. There's opportunities like that where social media is making it easy for news to be spread around like that. So I would also say social media plays a big role into this, continuing to deliver those nuggets of news, nuggets of information that those people are looking for. And I also think that where we were last year for North American All-Stars with the Mall of America was really, really special. It was not your typical cubing environment. It was in the rotunda of the Mall of America, just outside the amusement park. And there's 4 different levels to the Mall of America. When you have people from all floors looking down at you while this competition's going on, that's pretty special. So in a way, I think cubing has already gotten really, really good results and really, really started going on that upward slope. Now is the time, in my opinion, to continue to embrace that storytelling aspect of cubing. Matt Marinick does a great job at it. Owen Stotts of StewCube, he does a wonderful job at it, putting the human story behind the times, put the human stories first by the scores. And I think with as big of a stage as Worlds is, ESPN's going to be equally interested as we are. So they're going to be grabbing people, probably sitting them down, talking with them one-on-one. Those packages like that and getting it out on a national level such as ESPN, it could be going places for sure. I think just continuing to keep a look at the community, social media, keep broadening that outreach of the cubing community, and do it to a point if where we get recognized on national stage, which fortunately we are for this, I think you could really, really see cubing and more people being drawn to cubing and something like, yeah, I want to go watch that because so-and-so's competing at this competition. I've always wanted to watch them live just because they're so good. People would look forward to that stuff. So I would think that cubing is already in a really good spot right now, but we just need to continue to go at it and continue to ask ourselves, how can we make this better? If we can make this better, you can see cubing really blossom into something truly special.
Yeah, I think so. And I hope so. I really think there's a lot of potential there to make it something great. It's already something great, but we can make it something way better.
Absolutely. It's fantastic, the trajectory that we've seen, that I've seen. I mean, I just started really on the technical side of things in 2023. It's amazing how our cubing has stretched, what the capabilities of the people who run the live streams are. I mean, these people who do all of this stuff, all the behind the scenes work, I mean, I give them so much credit just for keeping this community afloat and just keeping it going and making it something to, where it's enjoyable. And if people are serious about it, they can potentially do it for a living. So, I mean, it is a really, really unique thing that, I mean, I'm just so happy to be a part of.
Yeah, love it. Happy to have you here with us as well. Stoked to. I can't wait to see you on Worlds. I think I'll probably, after I've had a bit of a break here, I might have a look at the Indiana Championships and see you and Dylan, because I missed that. So I'll take a look at that and see how that team worked. I'm interested to see it. Michael Rosenkranz, thank you so much for joining us. So remind us, in Worlds, you're commentating. You're doing Square One.
Correct. I will be doing Nations Cup Thursday night.
Nations Cup's the big one.
I will. Nations Cup Thursday night, and then I will be doing the third group, which is the final group of Square One. That'll be on Sunday morning. And I will also be doing the second round of 3x3, the first 2 groups. So the third group of Square One and the first 2 groups of the second round of 3x3 will be back-to-back. So I'll have a short stint of commentary there and a short stint on Thursday. But I just, give all the credit and a shout-out to Kevin Hayes and the Cubing USA team for giving me the opportunity to commentate during Worlds. This is something we've been talking about for a while now. And to see it finally coming to fruition is a dream come true. I'm excited. I'm honored to be able to do this for you. And I'm ready to have fun with Worlds, and I hope you all are too.
Yeah, nice. Michael Rosenkranz, thank you so much. I'll let you go. I'll let you get off just now. Here's the deal. I'm just going to carry on and basically hang up on you. But thank you. Appreciate you. And we will catch you soon. We'll see you on the Worlds broadcast. Woo!
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me, Mike. Really appreciate you.
Easy. Thank you so much. Michael Rosenkranz, everyone. Appreciate you, but I'm going to hang up now. Michael Rosenkranz. How about that? There we are. Right. I'm going to take a break in just a second, but I just want... Well, I'll tell you what. I'll just write a quick message to Michael and just be like, thanks. I can't spell thanks. Thanks so much. I just wanted to talk to what Carter's saying in the chat here, because there's a couple of things there that are just... Are they red flags for me? No, they're not red flags. Listen, Carter... We are allowed to disagree as functioning human beings with functioning brains. I'm sure yours functions at a far higher level than mine, but we're allowed to disagree, and that's cool. We'll keep talking, I'm sure. But so I've just looked up Carter on WCA. He's a WCT member, so he's on the communications team. Very accomplished cuber. But there was one comment in particular, just that you mentioned here. See, we were talking. Michael and I were talking about. Getting people who aren't cubers first, skills first. And then you said, hiring from inside makes communication a lot easier though. Now, I'll take issue with that comment with peace and love and respect. I see what you're saying there. Hiring from inside probably does make communications a lot easier. And then you go on to say, especially in the sense that you don't have to explain your perspective as much and how cubing is. That to me, as someone who's completely outside the WCA, okay, that's my perspective. That to me is a bit of a red flag in a marketing and communication sense. Because if you're telling me that you have a message that is too difficult to communicate to anyone outside of competitive cubing, then your message, it could be argued, is no good. So I think I would invite you to just maybe reflect on that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that's not lending itself. Like that mindset is not, it is the opposite of a growth mindset. Remember, I'm just a goober on the outside, but I want to see speedcubing grow. If you're saying this is the way we do it because this is easier, that is a stagnation mindset. You cannot grow if an organization has that mindset. And it's kind of been my take for a while, I suppose. You need to, I think, and not you, it's not about you personally. It's maybe the WCT, maybe it's the WCA as a whole. I think it might be worth some reflection. Here's some unsolicited advice. It might be worth some reflection on why it's difficult to explain your perspective as much to people who aren't in cubing. And I'm sure there will be challenges in that. It won't be easy work. But I would encourage you potentially to reflect on that and be like, how can that mindset lend itself more to growth rather than stagnation? Because I feel like the risk of not growing is stagnating. And there are risks to growth as well. I'll concede that, of course. But there's definitely some thinking to be done there. And I don't know the intricacies of the WCT. I don't know the intricacies of the WCA. Maybe, Carter, we should get you on the show to have a yap sometime. That'd be quite interesting to talk to someone in the communications team to get some perspective from inside the WCA. You do go on to concede that the WCA is going in the direction of not being entirely cubers, which is good in certain areas. So there's a inkling of a concession in there, which I appreciate as well. Okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom and probably boil the kettle. And then we'll decide where we're going next. You can all suggest in the chat where we're going to go next. I know I'm going to go and look at the Instagram post from Cubing USA about ESPN. I know we're going to take a look at the Indiana Champs 2024, where Michael Rosenkranz and Dylan Miller were commentating. I wanted to just get a little flavor of that. I didn't ask him who his color commentator is Oh, maybe he's still online. Hold on a minute. I'll flick him a message now. Who's your color at Worlds? Has that been decided? We'll find out. Okay, so if there's, I'm kind of out of the loop on hardware stuff. I haven't really noticed any hardware stuff. So maybe we need to go and have a dig around. I'm not sure if anything's happening on NewCubes, on r/NewCubes. Let's go and take a look. Oh, for goodness sake. Hold on a minute. The stream has cooked itself. Discord problems. Which window do I want? I want this one. There we go. Okay, lovely stuff. And this is useless, so I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to go and I need to go to one of my ad screens. Hold on, everyone. We're doing live. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Thanks, Discord. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, bud. Appreciate you. Now we'll copy that. Use code Cubecast, everyone. I was on my YouTube screen, wasn't I? And I'll just go boink. There he is. Look. Hello. How you going? Whoop. So what's on r/NewCubes? Oh, MGC2 beta. Okay, we have a new MGC2 to maybe go and have a look at. Oh, and there's new pictures of the Sengso clock as well, eh? Okay. So we got some things to look at here. Chi 10 by 10. Does anyone care? I don't know. Just another magnetic big cube? Sure. And then there's the 11 and UV Void, Waylong 11 AI. I think we took a look at that already. So there's a couple of bits there. The MGC2 beta, I have no idea if there's any video on any of these yet. Sengso clock. I was bugging the Sengso Instagram guy to see if I could get a hold of one of them, but I'm not sure if it's out yet or if it's or even close to being out yet. But we can take a look at that. Oh, hello. Michael's replied. Here we go. For Nations Cup, it will be Keaton Ellis. So we'll have Michael Rosenkranz and Keaton Ellis for Nations Cup. Keaton will also be with me for the final group of Square One, Round One. And then I'll have Zach Riddle. Who's Zach Riddle? I don't know Zach Riddle. Who's that? Zach Riddle. No, 1D. Thank you very much. WCA. Who's Zach Riddle? Who's this? Oh, the delegate, Zach Riddle. Okay, cool. He is going to be the color caller for the first two groups of 3x3. Okay. An unknown quantity to me. I don't know if I've seen Zach commentating before. Keaton Ellis. I should know more about Keaton Ellis off the top of my head. He's a OG delegate, right? He's been around for a long, long time. Yeah, I know who Keaton is. He's in the WCA. Of course I know who Keaton is. Nice. So Keaton Ellis and Zach Riddle are going to be the color commentators working with Rosenkranz. Excuse me. On all that stuff. Right. I'll be back in a minute, all right? I need to pee. For goodness sake. You look after yourselves. Hassle the 8-ball in the chat. If you hit up 8-ball, you can ask it a question. 8-ball. No, so you need an exclamation mark and then 8-ball. Will China win the Nations Cup at the WCA World Championships? Let's see if 8-ball's still there, if the chatbot stuff is still working. Someone was asking about the dynamic banner. Oh yeah, China's gonna win. 8-ball says so. Someone was asking about the dynamic banner on my YouTube page. If I go to my channel, I emailed them about it, and they said we have killed that, so it doesn't work anymore. So I need to either find a new service that does a dynamic banner, or I have to just change my banner. But that's sad. I like my little counter. We're nearly at that one. Everyone. We're nearly at 5.8. Anyway, right, I'm going for a snack. A little snacky. You guys behave. All right? managed my time poorly, everyone. I peed and then I put the kettle on. I should have put the kettle on and then peed. I'll be here soon, alright? I won't be long. Okay. Where's the button? Here's the button. That's the one I want to press. I really need to get a fade out on that music, hey. But I'll tell you what, we'll put it on as well. I'll put it on in the background because I'm just going to have a little snacky and catch up with the chat. See where we're at, see where we're going. What's everyone been asking 8Ball? Let's see, what wisdom has 8Ball given us? Let's go to the YouTube screen and then we'll pull this up here so we can see what we're talking about. Will China win the Nations Cup? It said yes. Then Level Up Cube is trolling, asking, will China lose the Nations Cup? Are you kidding? Nice try. Nice try. MKU Cubing and Gaming. The commentator was Michael Rosenkranz. We spoke to him for like an hour and a half already. Will Yiheng Wang win the 3x3 World Championship title? Forget about it. I'm still rooting for Zhuan Yi, I think. I do want Yiheng to win. He deserves to win. If Zhuan Yi wins, I'll be like, called it. But also I'll be like, oh, ow. Oh, that doesn't feel good though. That doesn't feel good. Will Zhuan Yi win the World Championship? 8Ball says, outlook not so good. Oh, shut up, 8Ball. You don't know what you're talking about. Will Timon Kolajinsky win the 3x3 World Champion? The heavens point to yes. But you said forget about it, about Yiheng. Is the next upcoming cuber someone we've never heard of? Heavens point to yes. Will Max Park get any World Championship titles? Most likely. 8Ball doesn't want people to sub. I didn't see that. Stupid 8Ball. 8Ball, will Max Park podium this year? Leaning towards no. I don't think he will. Level Up Cube. Now you got a video. 8Ball said this about the Rubik's Cube World Championships. True. Should people subscribe to this channel? It might actually be yes. Thank you, 8Ball. I appreciate you. Thanks for that. Thank you. So, I think, yeah, we'll take a look at the Indiana champs from last year and see what Rosenkranz and old Millie Dilly got up to. Speedcubing TV. Nice try, level up. Should people unsubscribe from this channel? Nah, mate. Okay, here we go. Speedcubing TV. Yeah, here we go. Let's search this channel. Indiana. Come on now. Oh, I'd be in the live, hey. Oh, is this us? This looks like it. Luke Greiser versus Brian Johnson. Is that what we're talking about? Well, we'll find out. We'll find out if those people are commentating on it. Is it timestamped? Come on, Mayor Nick. Have you timestamped it? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Oh, here. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Competition.
So Michael Rosenkranz is who we spoke to this morning, everyone. He mentioned that he had... I thought this was going to be his debut SpeedCube commentating. But apparently not.
We saw at Swoop and Solve, he had 2 sub-6 averages in back-to-back rounds at that competition.
We've got Dylan
he's
and
really solid right
Michael
now.
on the crew here. So let's
earlier at this competition,
let's maybe get through to some of the juicy stuff.
He didn't get any world ranking higher, but you know,
Is this
second ever North American to get.
This is what we're looking at.
Coaching. Speedcubing TV.
Use code Cubecast.
Link. Thank you for
Okay, I'm just gonna skip through to the actual match because I want to hear the commentary itself.
Going into it, into 3
Like
by 3
without having
finals,
seen
this is
these
what
two
he
commentate
practices
together
for.
before,
And you see him
I feel
practicing
confident that
right
this is a
here
good
on
matchup,
the
you know?
solves, wearing those headphones, he doesn't want any noise right now and just focusing on his own game. And going into it, it's all a mental game going forward for Luke Greiser. How does he edge out the win here in 3 by 3 finals?
Well, I think Greiser going recog.
Okay, so the kind of
the fact that
this is a
so
preamble.
well in moments here and there, he was on good paces, had some long speed, but it'll deeper in inspection.
Sorry, I'm getting real
Garrett
skippy.
relies
That's a
more
nice
on
graphic.
His, on the
That's a
fly
real nice
solutions and
graphic.
solving and just being
I like
super
that one.
solid. So we just hope from both of these solvers that they turn accurately and solve efficiently, and that will be their recipe for success.
So let's take a look and see what we reckon. To the
And my mistake here, folks. This
To
might
in
be
my
one
mind, the
more
dream
group
team.
of 2 by 2 coming up right now.
that's nice.
So, not quite yet 3 by 3 finals, but Luke Garrett was one of the people to watch out for in this next group of 2 by 2. So it looks like there's one more group of 2 by 2 going at
I
it.
bet they've got great
We'll see
graphics for
here.
what. I have no
looks
doubt.
like Luke
Kevin's all
is
over it.
going to
I'm genuinely
just
excited
be
to watch World.
practicing right now on 3 by 3. No, it is his first solve of 3 by 3 finals. So here we go.
Bit of confusion in the back
Luke
end there.
Garrett starting off with a 650, so a little bit of a slower solve, but
I think level up what I'm meaning
I
is just the fact that it popped in and just said, here's your stats. Away it goes. Love it. Just keeping that context is really
He's
important.
A pretty decent first pair here. We see on this replay. He's going
Here's
for
the-
yellow, which is a good sign for
here's the
Greiser.
color.
Gets a free pair into his back right. Nice F move solution there. Slightly unnecessary. Y2 unnecessary. Sets up a free pair for last slot. And then he gets this really nice solve CP for his
John
OL.
Epley, graphics
The
are
main
leveled
issue
up
here is that
massively.
Z-prem
Trust, okay.
execution, definitely could have been a little bit cleaner. Normally when you're on that pace going into Z-prem, you'd hope for like a 6-2, 6-3. 6-5, we saw that little lockup there. So definitely something that we want to have clean.
So hear that color? Really filling in the gaps.
now here's Luke Greiser. Luke Garrett starting off with a 6-5-0.
Context.
Another chapter of the Luke v. Luke rivalry. Greiser
First chapter,
had to edge
storytelling.
out Luke on his last solve at Swoop and Solve Oxford 3 weeks ago. What can he do here?
Why is his brain like this?
Greiser
Unbelievable.
starting with his first solve. Pretty
Oh,
smooth
what the
turn
hell was
out of the
that?
box. Miss recognition there, an 808, a tough start for Luke Greiser.
I will say from solution based, I like the way that Greiser approached the scramble a lot better. Solving this pair in front left seems really clean. Gets the EO here, lefty soon, and then he's on good pace for this.
I'm not sure if Carter's still in the chat, but
loses the cube, goes into his lap. I mean,
I don't
really
have
love to see that
I don't
from
have
him.
any
I mean,
issues with
both
this
of
so
these,
far.
Solvers uncharacteristic starts.
I feel like this is catering for
taking silver
a broad audience.
These solves, they were on good pace. It was just the ending that they kind of had some mistakes on, especially Greiser. That 8 was not necessarily a product of any of his F2L problems, so he should feel fine going into the next solves. But you definitely have your back against the wall with that 8 to start.
No doubt. Luke
If
Garrett
Dylan wasn't
gearing up
competing in
for his
PSL,
second
I'd be
solve.
like,
Door opens a little bit more after that.
door opens a little bit more.
808
I'd be
single
dreaming
by
of this
Luke
combo
Greiser.
for PSL Vegas if Dylan wasn't competing.
Luke Garrett, the native of Indiana, looking to edge out a win on homeland in 3x3 finals.
Fill in that space.
Here
Love
he
it.
goes with solve number 2.
I've got a lot of faith in Rosenkranz.
A little bit of a pause there going
I think
into
he's
last
exactly
layer.
who we need.
6:23, a head shake at that one. So another solve just over 6 seconds for Luke Garrett.
I don't think Luke can be too mad at this solve. I mean, he executes everything fine enough. There's only this one big lockup here in F2L.
Dylan's real good at this as well. Hey, I
Doesn't
think
get rewarded with the best OLL PLO.
he's
I mean, he's
such
doing
a good
Daxun,
personality.
For rough in the GC perm. Like this is not great for
Like
him.
totally happy,
But decent enough turning to still
talking
get a
and being
6-2.
heard.
Not with the best cases.
And that's what we
either.
need, that
And, we
confidence.
saw in that one particularly, he did not do white yellow. So this could mean white yellow or not great for Greiser, or Luke just saw something he liked better.
Really digging at the technicalities. I can only
Garrett.
follow half of what Dylan's saying, which I think is perfect.
6:23 on
'Cause
the
I'm not a pro
second
keeper.
solve. What can Greiser do here on his second solve? Remember, he's a yellow and white solver only. Looking for either one of those options. Really big pause there. Still gets a 592, so a sub-second.
And there's a wee delay here as well because they're off site.
That's more like the Luke Greiser that we know.
One of my main things I talk about with Greiser is I don't think his
Speaking of TV, it's 7.6K, shout out.
But these first two pairs, a lot of moves, but gets them done quick. And this big pause here is this ZB recog, which, like I said, one of the main points of emphasis for Greiser if he wants to win this matchup. We see here that anti-soon Alg specifically has a very large block. And that in that case, him doing ZB was probably a little bit faster than doing OLL PLO, which is always great to see, especially on those soon anti-soon cases where
This is a great combo.
The benefit of doing ZB is
In my
very minor
opinion.
compared to just doing
This
OLL
is a-
PLO, but he makes it work there.
This is a prime combo.
You don't want to count that 808 second single for Luke Greiser, and he follows that up with a 592. Now here's Luke Garrett on solve number 3.
I know Dylan spoiled the result of this in the chat earlier on, but I think I've already forgotten. I think he said Greiser won.
Taking a lot of inspection time. Here he goes. Turning very fluid out of the gate. Bit of a pause. A 512. There's a good solve for Luke Garrett. Way to bounce back with a sub 6 second single.
Way to bounce back. He's such a
Yeah,
natural.
so it seems like here
He's a
just
natural
pretty clean. He
talker.
also went
I
for
love
white
it.
here, and I saw it looked like he had 2 free pairs on his last 2. So yeah, very easy, sexy sledge, and then nice PLO there. So
What's up, Justice?
I
no
mean,
hardware
this could
yet.
mean
We'll get
good
there in a
news for
minute.
Greiser. I mean,
MGC2
if Garrett
beta and the
has done
Sengso clock. I
white
think we'll look at.
/ yellow
See if
on
we can
his
find
last
anything.
2 out of 3 solves. So potentially white yellow are good here.
I'm kind of invested in this
Greiser's gonna like what he sees.
year-old
He
match
does
now.
the same continuation as
Oh, not
Garrett.
even. November.
He's on pace to potentially get a nice little single like that too.
No doubt. Luke Greiser going to be paying attention.
When do we get BPA? I thought we could get
Yellow
BPA
and
after
white.
3 solves.
Lots of different blocks on this scramble. And here goes Greiser for solve number 3.
These two are working well
Still
together.
very smooth.
Oh,
A little
yuck.
bit of a lockup there. 7-10. Luke Greiser frustrated after that one.
Yeah, decent start here. I mean, slight pause, but
Oh,
then
a UU
flew it
prime?
all the way through. Does that?
Even
fat
I
F,
spotted
does
that.
it fine. Gets this nice free pair.
Ooh, an
here, and
hourglass
then
look.
I guess for this OLL,
Ugh.
he's doing EOZB nowadays. I personally don't find it viable here, and he does that into a LZB. Seems like he recognized it fine enough, but then just couldn't really get the execution down, and he's quite displeased with himself on that.
We should get
one.
BPA after this
You know,
solve,
you
hey?
could just do standard OLL, PLL, get decent continuation there, but seems like he
Who's that messing with the
didn't really
camera?
get to follow through as well as he would have hoped.
So as of now, he is counting that 7-10 single right now.
John, after
That
4
808 is
solves.
his worst time.
Gotcha.
592 is his best. Greiser is going to be looking for something good here on this 4th solve, as will Luke Garrett.
Rosenkranz in the chat. The graphics are on another level
Tyler
for
Rose, our
Worlds.
director
BPA
of
and
production,
WPA lock in after 4
fixing
solves.
the
Thank you.
top-down camera for
I'm
you
excited
all
to see.
at home. That is fixed, and Luke Garrett is good to go.
Am I hosting a
for
viewing party
solve
for that?
number 4.
There's a PSL Discord now, everyone.
Solve 3, the door opening a little bit more after that 7-10 single by Luke Greiser.
Yeah, I am. I'm hosting in the in the
Here's
PSL
Garrett solve number
Discord.
4.
I'm looking at
Couple different blocks in blue.
Monday 11 a.m. Yeah, I'm looking at hosting a
Here he
watch
goes for
party for the
solve
3x3
number 4.
finals in the PSL Discord, which should be good fun.
Turning out of the gate, pause there, goes for the.
I couldn't remember which ones I'd said I would do.
579.
What happened?
A good
579.
solve there for Luke Garrett, and he's well on pace.
Garrett's got this one, surely.
Yeah, I mean, green here looked
There it is,
crazy.
BPA and WPA.
you
Love to
saw
see
Luke
that.
kinda have a
You gotta
visible
have that stuff
reaction
on
to it.
screen.
Gets this dog case into OLL. Good S move execution.
goobers
with
like
the
me.
Z-perm here. Definitely fine, but I mean, wow, green just looks so jarring.
You
I
have
mean,
to do the
especially
maths
a
for
CN
people
solver,
on
that's
screen.
all your
Hey.
attention is drawn to. You see cross
Otherwise,
essentially just
big
a
F.
U-perm away from being solved. Like, that's definitely taking your attention, and I don't know how Garrett managed to deal with it, but the blocks came together all the same. So sub 5.8, he's on good pace.
Best possible, it's 571 for Luke Garrett.
So what does Luke
Worst
need
possible
here?
at 617.
Well, he needs
Here
something
goes
good, eh?
Luke
But he
Greiser
needs a
with solve
5.
Number 4.
He needs a good 5.
Yellow and white only.
Well, it doesn't really matter, does it? He just
We'll be
needs
looking for
a
something
5
here.
that's better than that one, hey?
Bit of a pause going in to that solve. Pretty fluid turning afterwards.
not gonna do it.
656 on that solve for Luke Greiser.
Womp.
So
Oh,
his
so
best
it's
possible average is going to be sitting at 653. Worst
It's
possible,
done.
725.
that's over, right?
Look, I don't think Greiser can be too mad with the solution. One thing I will say is he could have gotten EO on this last pair if he did it slightly differently. If you set up, you rotate.
Because if the
F
BPA
F
is worse than the
red sledge, you
WPA
get,
from the other person.
EO there, especially for a ZB solver like Greiser. That would have been
How do you
very
deal with
useful
that as a
there.
commentator?
His
That's
OLL
interesting.
His F2L OLO transition was great there.
I
The
think
big issue, point of contention, was his.
I think that's a good combo. I think that's a good combo of commentators right there. Who did he say? Who did Rosenkranz say that he was looking at? Keaton Ellis and Zach Riddle. You have to be at Dylan Miller levels of yapping, Keaton and Zach. If you're watching, you're not. But if you ever see this, we're looking for Dylan Miller level of yappage for Worlds, I reckon, for the color calls. I reckon. Clement, are you asking me to learn 7 Simul? Because if you are, then sir, I have to tell you that this is not day one. People have been nagging me to learn that forever. I barely pick up a 3x3, let alone learn a new method on another thing. That's not how my life works. Anyway, before we carry on, everyone, we should probably have some freaking ads. Oh, yeah. Wait, no, not yet, because I still need to move these freaking cameras. Oh, for goodness sake. For goodness sake. For goodness sake. Oh, I need to copy this one. Discord. I don't know why I do this to myself. Eh? Right, no more interviews. I'm never interviewing anyone ever again. Wait, I thought I did that one. What the heck? Oh, I did. I'm not smart. Why is that button not working? Why have I got SpeedCube Shop? Oh, for goodness sake, my buttons are busted. I don't have my Cubing Life Academy ad. Jeez, you don't get this on SpeedCubing TV, eh? You don't get this kind of nonsense on a professional broadcast like SpeedCubing TV, do you, everyone? Do you? No, you absolutely don't. Why haven't I got Cubing Life Academy in that one? Right, hold on, everyone. Stream Deck. Where are you, Stream Deck? Why is this picking the wrong scene? Oh no, Cubing Life Academy ad just has the wrong image. Why? Why? Why are you like this? What is my life? What is my life, everyone? What is my life? Add image. Add existing? No, okay, create new. CLA slide. I'm gonna sink. For goodness sake. Nope, nope, wrong one. Shit. There it is. Okay, okay. Right, okay. As you were, everyone. As you were. As you were, as you were. Alright, okay. Ah, dang it. Man, I've got fat hands today, hey. Oh, hey, everyone. How are you? You know what it's time for? It's time for some ads, everyone. Use code Cubecast at SpeedCube Shop. And save yourself 5% off all the things you want. You want to buy cube-shaped things? Go for it. You want to buy a tetrahedron? Go for it. You want to buy... What kind of shape is a clock? A three-dimensional circle? Not a sphere. That's not what I mean. A three-dimensional circle? Go buy a clock at SpeedCube Shop and use code Cubecast to save 5%. If you want to learn to solve that three-dimensional circle, or maybe the tetrahedron, or one of the cube-shaped puzzles, you can go to Cubing Life Academy, buy one of their amazing courses, and use code Cubecast to save 5% there as well. You can buy stuff from me using the same code at SpeedCube New Zealand and Australia. You can buy cube sauce there. That's the lube I make. You know where else you can buy that? You can buy it at speedcubing.org in the UK. You can buy it at Crafty Cube in Australia. And you know what else you can do? You can save 20% off any G Fuel product using my code MIKE32314. Mike32314. The link is in the description at gfuel.com. Why not treat yourself to one of their amazing Rubik's 50th anniversary collector boxes? That's pretty good, hey. That's pretty good. I want one of them. Do you want one of them? Of course you do. Of course you do. Go buy one with my code at gfuel.com. All right. That was slick. I think you'll all agree. Using my code at any of those places really helps me out. I get a little kickback. I got a real big kickback from G Fuel, which I really appreciate. Thank you, G Fuel, for coming on board. Awesome to have a non-cubing sponsor on the podcast. And just to see non-cubing sponsors in cubing in general. Let's do some hardware. I know everyone's hanging out for some hardware. Let's do some of that, shall we? So, MGC have been cooking recently, everyone, haven't they? We had an MGC 3 beta. There's the MGC 3 Blue, which I know the chaps at SpeedCube Shop have been very happy with. And when I was talking to Michael Chai, he was telling me he had a go when he went in past. And he said it's very, very good as well. He's very excited about that. And now, relevant to Michael Rosenkranz in the chat here, they are making an MGC 2 beta. That's very exciting, isn't it, everyone? Michael Rosenkranz, I did forget to tell you I can solve a 2x2 and I'm trying to learn to solve 3x3 for Worlds. Nice. Love to hear it. Love to hear that. Okay, so MGC 2 beta. It looks like a 2x2 with lightning inside. That's cool, hey? Pretty sick. Pretty sick. What are people saying about it? Why can't I open them? Where's the comments? FMica Cubecast is wild. Cubecast is the most professional show on the whole internet, is what I heard. Okay, so what can we see? I don't know. We can see double magnets and we can see lightning. I'm guessing some kind of fanciness. Honest Recipe, shout out. We see them a lot in here. After learning that radial magnets are a thing, I'm not as excited. Jokes. Probably going to be the 2x2 that non-ganners use. That's a big call, sir. SpeedCube 1292. We'll see if the GAN is finally defeated. A lot of GAN haters out. Armando, I didn't like the other MGC2. I'll stick with my GAN. Thank you. Cubing with Arson's hyped. Let's see how it compares to the 3x3 beta, which is definitely awesome. Matthew Pizza's a fan. Oh, the real Uncle Frank. It's Ballcore. Hello. New information has entered the chat. Ooh. Hey! I've seen this before. This has been leaked before. Because I remember, well, I think it's been leaked before. But I know I remember those colored internals. So we have a ball core magnetizing the corner to the core. Lovely stuff. We also, you can see big honking repelling magnets on the torpedoes there as well. Wait, are they torpedoes on a corner? Justice, it was like 3 months ago. You remember? Yeah, okay, I'm not losing my mind. Yeah, we did see this before. But it was before the Beta 3 even came out, wasn't it? So, okay, great. A ball core 2x2. Is the VIN 2x2 a ball core? I think it is, eh? I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. VIN 2x2. I don't want to. The reason I'm looking this up is because I don't want to say, whoa, the first ball core 2x2, but of course it's not. So we have the VIN Cube 2x2. That's a ball core as well. So yes, this is not brand new in terms of that. These are very helpful arrows here, aren't they, everyone, to show you which way you should turn the cube. You can go that way and that way. So like when I tell people that my car is real fancy, because it goes forwards and backwards. So some helpful arrows to help you solve the cube. Some really big channels here to hold onto the lube and distribute that. That's cool. Looks like a spring. Can't see if it's maglev. Sorry. Looks like a screw. I can't really tell from here if it's maglev, but you could argue that we can see a magnet in there, but there's not one attached to the screw. I think it's unlikely to be maglev. Have we had a maglev 2x2? No. We haven't, hey. We haven't had a maglev 2x2. So I think it's unlikely that it is. I like what I'm saying. I'm loving these colors on the inside. These are very purple. This is very green. I approve of that. Is there anything on YouTube about it? MGC 2x2 beta. No. No. There was a vintage cubicle video on the MGC 2. Nah, no video yet. Chang, you made a maglev 2x2 and it's not necessary. Okay. I kind of feel the same about maglev 3x3s, to be honest. TBH. Hey, that's me. I'm not seeing anything. I don't think we've got anything here. It may be that there's something on Instagram. Maybe. Let's have a look at MGC. It's not MGC though, is it? It's YJ. Is it YongjunCube? Let's see what information we can find on here. YJ, there will have some surprises. Love to hear that. 20th anniversary of YJ. So no information there. This is very, very fresh intel we're getting here, everyone. When was this posted? 17 hours ago. Oh my gosh. Well, this is new. But as a result, there is not really much to say about it. There's a QR code here. Friends, shall we scan the QR code and see where it goes? That seems like a good thing to do, doesn't it? Right, there's a QR code hidden behind my little face here. I'm going to scan it with my phone. See if it goes anywhere. Is this going to take me to a WeChat? I'll allow it to open. It is a WeChat link. Okay. How am I going to get this on screen? It didn't do anything. I'm going to scan that again. Can I share this? Share this to my Mac here. Hold on. Hold the line caller. Oh, I did it twice. It's just going to take me to WeChat. Let's try this again. That's not the camera, you boomer. I was trying to scan a QR code with the browser. What a silly Billy. Let's go open in Chrome and then see if, don't allow, and see if it'll give me the link on my phone, and then I'll boost it to the computer. No, I said don't allow. Go. Don't allow. Ugh. One more try, and then I'm giving up. One more try, and then I'm giving up. That's nothing. That's nothing. It just wants me to... It wants me to get WeChat. I do have WeChat in here. Let's see if I can get it on my phone. Maybe there's some information we can use there. If not, we're bailing, because this is futile. I'm doing the work for y'all, okay? I'm doing the work. Allow. Open up WeChat for me, please, and take me somewhere. Don't just take me to my chats. Take me somewhere. Scanning complete. Loading. It's taken me to the YJ page, and okay. Now, I can translate inside WeChat. Bear with me. Hold the line caller. Translate full text. Yes, please. So I've got some information here. I've got some information. Let's go full screen. You can get this inside WeChat if you've got it. What does it say? A while ago, some of your friends may have noticed our designer's social dynamics. They've been open and honest. One of these, a mysterious second-class product. This is the picture we saw. That was the picture we saw that I was very excited about because it's so freaking purple and green. It's less freaking purple and green now, which is sad. Okay, so, but now, okay. This is translated badly, but now it's today. It's almost time, so I'm here to claim it. Yes, we have one. The new level. Introduce myself in a grand way again. I'm actually what I am. I'm carrying a load. MGC series name. Have high-end product positioning of new members. MGC2 beta. This is impossible. Everyone leave a comment in the comments saying, tell me something about MGC2 beta. And there's a prize draw. Well, that's nice. One random fan on WeChat will get a... These are not links. I thought they were links. Okay. Well. I'm not sure what to do with this information. I'm already following YJ. That's good of me. So, yeah, get on WeChat, everyone. It'll be really hard to sign up. I can almost guarantee it. But there's a lot of information on there. A lot of leaks. I think this is where people are getting... people are getting stuff to put into r/newcubes. But it's basically the same information. We've got a 2x2 coming. Absolutely no technical details or anything of any interest, but we've got one coming. Oh, it's coming. That's about it. That's about all we have. Is the original image, which had a much cooler color scheme. This guy here. That's very, very cool. And it was very exciting at the time when we saw it last time. But there's nothing else. There's nothing else for you. There's nothing else I can give you, everyone. That's what we have. And MGC2 has been, at this stage, leaked. And it looks kind of cool. Looks kind of tasty. There it is, shooting lightning. Pretty standard promo material. And then here's what we're seeing inside. This looks like a render. This doesn't look like a photo, hey. This looks like a rendering. But what can I tell you? MGC are working on a beta 2x2, which is very cool. Thank you. Appreciate it for that incredible coverage. Got the big leaks here at Cubecast. That's the MGC2 beta, everyone. Now, we have some Sengso clock leaks from Sengso's Instagram. Let's look at their Instagram first, and then we'll see what kind of smack people are talking about it on Reddit. I saw a lot of comments there. There's a lot of pictures of this. Lots and lots. Which style would you like? Says Sengso Cube. The white one looks very like Chi, as pointed out by Stiggy Wiggy here. It's a very thick clock, isn't it? It's objectively kinda fugly, though, isn't it? It's not very pretty, is what I can say. Do those wheels, though, look extra big compared to the Chi? Is Volodymyr still in chat? He was here earlier. But do those wheels, this looks like the dimensions of this look a bit chonkier than the old Chi. The Chi looks kind of skinny by comparison. So that's the newest one. That was from a week ago. Then we had this guy. Regarding this magic clock, I am still checking who it should be evaluated for. Me. I hope he can bring more attention to this product and let more people know about a good product. Mate, hit me up. Come on now. Oh, and then went into a 10 by 10 or something. Oh, no. No, stop it, Sengso. Nobody wanted those silly little clocks. I'm too busy today. Let me give you a preview first. That's another 3x3 clock. Okay, cool. Sure. And then we're out of clock content, hey? Oh, no, we've got this. We did have this unboxing video that we've looked at before. And we have a carousel of images here. He's really just... Ooh. He's really just playing around with the colors, which I don't hate. We like to have cool colored clocks. I don't like this one. The purple and red's not a vibe. Oh, this is a video. Are we going to get a 6 solve? Jack cubing. Hopefully there will be other colors because this looks ass. I can't disagree with that. That's an awful color scheme. That's a horrible color scheme. Yuck. Clock Lords, is there anything that can be gleaned from the noises it's making? It sounds kind of crunchy. There's another video of an unboxing. The performance of this magic clock is shown in the video. I believe that players who like magic clock will not miss me. The color scheme and price of the style have not been determined yet. Everyone can brainstorm and speak freely. Just dump it out of the box there, bud. This is 4 weeks ago. This is just a Sengso clock. Here's me. Please consider me for testing. Hi, Mike from Speaking instead. Hi, ACT Nth. This is a confusing video, though. Because that just looks like a Sengso clock. It looks entirely different. Yeah, but this was 4 weeks ago. AA cubing. This was 4 weeks ago, and it's completely different. That is not the new clock. Why did I even comment on this? Patong, patong, patong. It sounds like a Sengso, doesn't it? It's not quite as buttery. And this is where they were first leaking them. It's not quite as buttery as the Chi. So we've covered these ones already. We're now seeing a few more images. I don't hate the white, black, and blue. Can we have a patriotic red, white, and blue? That would be cool, hey? But I'm not sure if we'll see it. So Sengso have made a thick clock. Ader Olivencia. The circles around the clocks look very wide. Thick clock. George Gavril 4. I'm the Greek NR holder. Can you send me one? Alright, Flex. I don't have any NRs. Can I have one? I do talk a lot. Is that good? I do like, I think I kind of like the thick. I need to see one in real life. Let's see what kind of smack they're talking about it on New Cubes. So they sent a couple of pictures from a few different Instagram posts. April, are they really leaks if they come directly from the company? Nah, not really. It's really ugly. But if it's good, whatever. I think it is kind of objectively kind of ugly. I'd back that up. Chang, red, white, and blue is color for a lot of countries. That's what I'm saying. The French, the Americans, the Brits, and the other ones. Who else has got red, white, and blue? Which flags are red, white, and blue? There's the other version of the French flag, isn't there? Which is like, there's France. Oh, it's the Netherlands has got that as well. Samoa's got that too. Australia and New Zealand, obviously. Liberia looks like a Timu US flag, right? US Timu stars and stripes. So lots of countries would be vibing on a red, white, and blue. Okay, you're missing a trick here, Sengso. Make a red, white, and blue. Then we're cooking. The arms look confusing. I don't know. They look quite big. I reckon, like, visually that might help. I don't really know, though. I don't solve very fast. These look really ugly. Yeah, I think so. But, you know, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, isn't it? And also, I don't even know. If you're solving 7 simul, are you really looking during the solve? I suppose you're looking during inspection, so you could argue that it could be an aid to inspection. You know, just making those hands like extra overt and extra big and extra obvious may help. Maybe. I don't know. Mostly people just talking smack and saying it's ugly is what I'm seeing. But nobody has had their hands on it yet. There's nothing on YouTube as far as I know. If I search for Sengso clock, I'm going to see nothing. Just our mate with that giant clock that you can't actually use. So, we haven't seen anything yet on YouTube. No videos. Come on, Sengso, get some sent out. Get some sent out. Not even to me. I don't even care. All right, send one to me if you want. I'll play with it and talk some noise. But yeah, get it out there. Get it out there. Get it used. Get some solves on it. We need some solves, please. We need some solves on the new Sengso clock. If you're listening, sir. Shall I comment? What shall I say? We need to see this out in the wild. I want to see how top solvers feel about it. Surely get one for Lockie, right? Surely get one for Lockie. Little clocky for little Lockie. Woof. Needs work. Okay. Hey, Sengso's following one person. Sengso's following one person. That always piques my interest. They're following Zengyu Sengso. I'm going to follow him too and find out if there's any leaks there. Oh, ho, 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 ho. We have more we have more stuff. We have a Clank DIY kit, apparently. Yo, we can see the guts of it, though. I will enjoy the birth of this new product with you, and you'll be looking forward to it, right? Can't wait. I'm keen to review. Oh, there we go. I'm begging on his personal page now as well. Cringe. So what are we up to here? We're putting it together out of frame. That seems like a choice. Playing with some molds. I'm not sure how interesting this is, really. Okay. So this is just the parts without the plastic. This is just the plastic parts without the magnets, I should say. So it's all very modular. Very moddable. Yo, imagine if they sold this, like... Imagine if you were able to just buy a ton of different colors. How would they do that? Then you could just completely mix up the colors. That'd be fun. Probably not WCA legal. So you can go and watch our man here building that if you want. Go and drop Zhengyu a follow and tell him, comment on this post and just be like, send one to SpeedCube NZ. Oh, was that the video? That was it? Okay. Alright. Ooh. There's some good stuff in this account. Lots of sort of behind the scenes stuff. This looks like we're molding some clock parts here. These look like dials, hey? I don't think we're going to see anything exciting. I think he's just setting the tolerances. Yeah, those are the clock molds. Come on, show us some plastic getting molded. He's just testing its level. Come on, shoot some plastic at it. Just in case anyone's confused as to where we are, we're in the factory, okay? Okay. The birth of a product originates from multiple sets of molds, and this is just a microcosm. This is the most basic research and innovation capability that every factory should possess. All right. All right. I feel like he's telling me off. Are there any... there are some more. There are... This is the same video. It's just the same video with a slightly wider angle. This is the assembly process of our new product. It's not very efficient. I mean, we're losing bits under the keyboard. But yeah, okay, you can see a better angle of it from here. So if you want to check it out, you can see a better angle in this video. It just seems to be slapping together a few parts, which is cool. We appreciate that. Okay. Not a lot going on there. Not a whole heap going on. Sengso continuing to work on the clock, which we love to see. Oh. He's really teasing us with this stuff. This can't be the actual assembly process. This is insane. Would you enjoy watching this assembly process? If you go faster, yeah. This cannot be real. This is not how these are being assembled in the factory. Just hucking a big straight edge screwdriver in there. Surely not. But there's lots more. Okay, so there's lots more footage. Lots more stuff on this page. I'm gonna... no, don't report it, for goodness sake. I'm just gonna grab this account. I'm just gonna put this on Reddit, everyone, with in that post. There's more on the owner's account too. There you go. Look at me doing Reddit. I'm not a boomer. I am. Okay, was there anything else we wanted to take a look at? Yeah, there was. Cubing USA. Cubing USA. Big, exciting post on Cubing USA. We are so excited to be able to finally share. ESPN Sports Center will be covering Rubik's WCA World Championship 2025 as part of their 50 States in 50 Days segment this summer, which is genuinely massive. For those attending on July 3rd, you'll notice a camera crew set up, filming and doing interviews. We couldn't be more thrilled to be a part of this. And then lots of people hyping out, including myself in the comments there. Very, very cool. So ESPN 50 States in 50 Days. Should we look that up? ESPN Sports Center 50 States in 50 Days. So this summer, ESPN's flagship program, Sports Center, embarks on a nationwide tour to bring popular events closer to fans across America. The slate includes a mix of live on-site shows and storytelling segments from a different state each day for 50 consecutive days. Running June 27th through August 16th, the 2025 event is inspired by the 2005 Sports Center Across America program. The 7-week initiative will feature a variety of fun segments, including MLB Home Run Derby, Little League World Series, Women's NBA All-Star Weekend, Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest, let's go, would watch, like unironically would watch. And the US Gymnastics Championships. Check out the full schedule below. Here we go. Wait, it's American dates. The 3rd of July is when it's going to air. The 7th of July, the Rubik's WCA World Championship. No, wait, is that when it's going to air, or is that when they're filming? They're because that's when the Rubik's World Championship is. So they're filming the day before Independence Day. What's up, Cole? Welcome along. So this is great, and I'll tell you why I feel this way. Because we had a similar thing in New Zealand. I wonder if I can find it. We had a similar thing in New Zealand in 2021 when these two radio personalities, Jono and Ben, they came and filmed at the South Island Championships here in Christchurch in 2021. And they included it in a TV program called Jono and Ben's Good Sports. And what TV? It was on TVNZ. I wonder if it's still there. I'll probably need to log in and stuff, so I'm just going to do that in the background. But they came along and filmed, and loads of people watched it, and it had it was a really, really good result for speedcubing. I was watching, so I did a live watch. I did a watch party in my Discord when it happened, and I was also watching my orders on that day. And I swear, in the hour after that program aired, and these numbers will mean nothing to anyone, and they're also tiny compared to actual cube stores, but I think I turned over in the hour after this show aired, I sold upwards of $1,000 worth of cubes just from eyeballs. And that's why I keep talking about it. Eyeballs was immediate. It was immediate. That result. And people still talk about it to this day. It's still in my email signature. And people still watch it. Hold on a minute. I'm going to see if I can find it. Jono and Ben's Good Sports. And we'll just take a quick look at it. Because I want you to see what we're talking about here. And obviously this is on a tiny scale. On a tiny scale. But if we can do this on a massive US ESPN scale, then we are literally like cooking. Okay? We're gonna have to watch some ads, man. That's fine. Bit of Kiwi ads for you, everyone. You'll only pay for what you use. I still can't do a Kiwi accent. Pretty shocking.
You got it. And with 6 months half price, you could save heaps if you use
Right,
extra data.
hold the line, caller.
And for lighter data users, how about
ESPN is filming part of World's Call. Yes, kind of like they did for the Ocho. Yes, but no. On Sports Center, on their flagship program. Like, mainstream stuff.
A nation of champions and us.
Oh, wait. It knows I'm streaming, so it's not going to show you.
New Zealand has long punched above its weight
It's clever.
on the world sports stage.
Actual TV is clever, so they're not going to let me stream it. They're not going to let me show you because I'm streaming it. If you're in New Zealand, you can go watch it. I don't. If you've got, I tell you what. If you've got a, if you use a VPN, should I be saying this out loud? Probably not. I've heard. I don't know if this is true, and I certainly don't condone it. But I've heard there are things called VPNs that you can use to watch TV in other countries. All right? And I'm certainly not suggesting that you do that. All right? I'm certainly not suggesting that you go ahead and do that. But yes, we are getting speedcubing on ESPN as their 50 States in 50 Days program on SportsCenter. It's a 7-week run. I feel like they're turning it around pretty fast. Are they actually gonna start screening it on the 27th? Jeez. So I can't tell you when you'll be able to see it, but they are certainly saying that they will be. They're gonna record on the 3rd of July at Worlds. So there will be a segment on ESPN SportsCenter, 50 States in 50 Days, which is absolutely incredible. It will be a massive boost. Massive boost for the sport. This is genuinely like the literal big leagues. ESPN SportsCenter, huge win for speedcubing, huge win for Worlds. It will be spectacular. And what are they saying about they might be opening up more spectator tickets for Worlds as well, because I heard that it's sold out. We have been diligently working on securing more space to be able to expand our spectator ticket capacity. Keep a lookout for an official post from Cubing USA in the next day with the full details. Okay, that was an hour ago. Joe, breaking news. Oh, breaking news from speedcubing USA. They are working on more spectator tickets. That's very cool. Very exciting stuff. Very exciting news. So what did we learn today, everyone? What did we learn? We learned that you should go to gfuel.com and use code Mike32314 or whatever it says in my description and buy things from them. We learned that. What else did we learn? We talked to Michael Rosenkranz. We talked a lot about commentary, which is very interesting. We learned very little about the MGC2 beta because there's no information whatsoever. We learned not very much about the Sengso clock either. Sengso, if you're watching, hi. Please send me one. I would love to have a play around. I'll tell you what. I've promised to learn 7 Simul so many times. This actually has no meaning anymore. But if they send me a Sengso clock, I'll learn 7 Simul. Just like I said, if you hit the donation goal in February, I'd learn 7 Simul. And just like I promised to Vera when we were at Armageddon working together, I said, yeah, okay, I promise, Vera, I'll learn 7 Simul. Have I learned it? No. But I will, I promise. This man cannot be trusted. Do not trust this man. I think that's probably going to do it for today, everyone. I might go and play a game of Fortnite and just have a bit of a rest. Shall I have a game of Fortnite on here? I could do that. Should we do that? I'm going to go play Fortnite anyway. Although, will I get sound? I haven't got sound worked out yet. Or maybe, do I? I don't know. No, I can't be arsed, honestly. There's things I need to sort out to do that. And I can't be bothered. I'm sorry, everyone. For the none of you who care. I'm going to go. You know what? No, the last thing I wanted to talk about. I'm a sensitive soul, okay? I am a sensitive soul. And as a YouTuber... I've had a bit of a tough week. I thought I would share this with you. Being on YouTube is such BS. Like, sometimes you're not supposed to, it's not supposed to affect you, but it does affect you. It does affect you when your views bomb. 420 on this one. Let's go. It's fine. Sometimes people just don't watch videos because they're not interested in them. A couple of my Kevin videos did just really badly. And that's what it is. A couple of videos did well as well, so I should be happy about that. You know, if anything hits a K, I'm usually happy. So the one Kevin video hit a K, love it. Calling it about Worlds, reacting to Stu's video, 1.5K. I love that. Getting trolled about the Rubik's Timer, 1,700. I love that. It's so hard not to assign value to the views you get, though. And I should find it easy because I put videos up like every day. But I do still find it hard. When a video bombs, it's just like, oh man, that's sad. And I feel bad for Kevin too, because it just, you know, it was a really interesting conversation. And I'm not complaining. I'm not saying go and watch my video. I don't care. If you don't want to watch them, that's fine. If it's not interesting to you, it's not fine. I've presented them in a way that's clearly not interesting to people. That's what I need to remember. I just could have done a better job presenting these videos, evidently. Because that's what, when people talk about the algorithm, that's what the algorithm is. The algorithm is people. Is people choosing to watch your videos, and you have an opportunity in the title and the thumbnail and the intro and the Holy Trinity to make your video as attractive as possible to people. And evidently I've just not managed to do that with my videos last week. I also had a couple of comments that comments stick with me sometimes. Hey, like it just infects my mind like a song caught in your head. They infect me like a brain worm, like an earworm, like a song stuck in your head. And I do find it difficult. But, you know, I need to get used to it. It's the internet. So I had one that I wanted to look at that was tough for me, but it was valid as well. So I kind of wanted to talk about that and some of the responses to it. I haven't responded to it because I've been kind of working out my response, but I did the Kevin Hayes video where part of his interview, he was talking about how he didn't practice for 2.5 years. We had a really good conversation, I think, about identity and changes in identity. And when I'm putting a video together, I'm looking for like little clips to put in the intro that I feel like might draw people in, that might make people interested in what the rest of the video's like. I'm trying to find the human connection to people. And I do that for all my videos. I did that to, sometimes it's about making people laugh. Sometimes it's about making people think. And I did this with this one video because Kevin talked about, you know, hey, I think the quote was, I didn't know what made me special anymore. I didn't know why my life mattered. And I thought, wow, what an incredibly insightful thing to say. That's so deep and so touching and so moving. I thought that's a great thing to include in the intro. And I try, if I can, to pull something from the intro through to the title so that there's something congruous that pulls you through. So I'd used the no practice for 2.5 years on the thumbnail, and I put, I didn't know why my life mattered. And then someone commented, I find the title to be evocative of S-word, self-termination thoughts. I find this to be very insensitive and I am disappointed. There are other ways of getting a few more views. And that one hit me really hard. Some of you who know my own story know that I lost my best mate to self-termination back in 2016. And that's not a reason why I should or shouldn't use this title, but because I've been through that, and because I saw this person being drawn into that space and those thoughts because of my title, I did not feel good. I did not feel good at all. And I think the first thing I want to say is that I am truly sorry for having hurt you in that way. I am truly sorry that happened. From my own point of view, I feel like although you can make that connection, there is a bit of a leap there. But I'm not using that to excuse it. I made the title. I did what I did. I upset this person. And I am truly sorry. I'll give them a little heart. I still think it's valid. I haven't changed it. I haven't changed the title. When he commented, it wasn't getting any views, so I was like, it's fine. But it did kind of upset me because I'd upset someone. One of my biggest fears is people thinking I'm an asshole. You know what I mean? I think that's a fairly common human feeling. But a couple of people came in to say it's literally from the video. And someone else came in saying, don't be so offended. I was like, well, that's not your decision to make. You cannot tell someone not to be offended. It's like to tell someone who's depressed not to be depressed. Like, what are you doing? You can't do that. So I just thought I would talk about it today to kind of help digest it in my own head and my own feelings. I still haven't done anything about it. I haven't responded to it. I'll respond and I'll say sorry, because I am sorry that I've affected them, even though I think potentially there's a leap in logic there. But it doesn't matter. I don't know who this person is. I don't know what position they're in. I don't know what they're going through. I don't know what's happening with them. I am still working out what I'm feeling about this. You know what I mean? So that was a hard one. The other one was just a commoner garden dickhead. But it's still, I saw it and I just, it spun me out. So I made the video. The video was reacting to StuCube's video about Yiheng versus Zhuan Yi. And I was like, well, in the video, I made the point that I'm calling it Zhuan Yi. I reckon Zhuan Yi has a good chance of winning. If I had my $100, remember me saying that? I was like, I'll put my $100 on Zhuan Yi. And then this person came in just going, there is nothing remarkable about calling it. And I was like, what's happening? What did I do? And I think this came, like 24, 48 hours after that other one, which I was still kind of spinning out about. And then this one came in. There is nothing remarkable about calling it. I was like, what are you saying here? Why did you comment this? And I literally replied, okay, not sure what to do with this. It's like, all right, just don't watch my videos. Just piss off. Just piss off. Like, it's whatever. It's the internet. People have thoughts about things. You don't have to be an asshole. You don't have to. Right? That's all. And then both of these things were happening as I was getting like kind of mid views on a few things, and I was just like, oh. Like I keep, the goal with this channel has always been, or the goal since Cubecast has always been just to keep turning up, just keep yapping, just like what Michael Rosenkranz was talking about. I just, what I'm adding here is my own self. And I think that the downside of that is when you get criticism, when really what your product is yourself, and you get criticism, it's hard to not take it personally because you've made it because you've made the whole thing essentially about yourself. You know? It's It's what it is. It's a complicated space to be in. And so it's just a roller coaster. Like every week is a roller coaster. I enjoy doing the stream. I really like doing the live stream. Nobody watches it. We've been like single figure viewers a lot today. That's hard in itself. And then comments that the first one, the one about the Kevin Hayes segment, that it just made me think a lot. It made me think a whole lot. Just in a sort of, am I the asshole kind of way? Have I done something terrible here? Objectively, I don't think I have, but I have upset someone, and that upsets me, you know? So I'm still working out what to do with that. And the other person's just being a dick, and that's fine. That happens because it's the internet. But that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying woe is me. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying here is what happened this week, and here's where I am about it. And that's really the end of that story, to be honest. That's what it is. I thought I wanted to talk especially about that comment about the title. So I just wanted to talk about that and offer that apology to that person, in a genuine way, not just a reply. And just to tell you, yeah, we're weird. You being on YouTube is weird, but it's what it is. Being broadcasting is weird. We used to have shit talkers in the chat on the radio. In anything you do, and I'm probably guilty of it as well. But is what it is. That is what happened, and that's where we'll end the little story. It was a good one, wasn't it? Like and subscribe, everyone. Listen, I'm going to go. I will be back next week. I'm pretty sure. I would usually not be here next week. We did skip a week this season when I was moving house. I'm still moving house. So I'm going to be back next week. We'll do a lot of nonsense on that one. There will be Fortnite on that one. There will be MSL catch up on that one. And there will be, if there's any news, there will be some of that as well. I'm going to call it. I'm going to boost everyone. Do support me if you can on SpeedCube Shop with code Cubecast, at Cubing Life Academy with code Cubecast, and at gfuel.com with code Mike32314. If that's incorrect, it's in the description. You can find it. I believe in you. You've got this. I'm going to play the ending now, and I'm going to go. Goodbye, everyone. Love your work. Catch you next time.